All right. Why is his head cut off all of a sudden?
What happened? We all look different.
Hold on.
Hello.
Oh, I didn't fix it on this side. That's why.
Oh.
Hey, I'm like Godzilla up in this bad boy.
Hello, everybody. Ooh, got some stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, Nithil KS says the thing about Venom, it was that Venom has a hive mind connected to Multiverse. Every Venom,
we just
as
learned
said in Venom credit scene. So yeah, they got in MCU and went back. Yeah, that was fun. I kind of just wanted Tom Hardy to be part of like the proper MCU. Do you know what I mean?
It was teased.
Like for reals.
It was teased at the end of Venom, and like they just gypped us on that.
They're like,
the movie's
he is,
so
but
packed.
he's not. Yeah.
The movie was so packed. It's like I guess it couldn't really fit it. I mean, I would
It
have.
felt last minute too because there was a moment after the release of Venom was out. Then there was all these leaked new photographs of him wearing the Spider-Man No Way Home hat and hanging out on people's trailers and stuff. So to me, it felt like it was a last minute ad. It was like, oh, this is what the fans want. So let's just do like this quick little scene. And they got old boy from Ted Lasso as the bartender and had that moment. And that was that.
All right.
Oh.
So as of right now, we got about 83 people here. And the first thing I noticed in the chat was, so just to make this clear, we're going to be taking questions from you guys because I already put out my spoiler review with ACHARA. So we would love it if you guys could hit us with your questions. And we will discuss whatever it is that you want us to discuss. SYNTELL has not put out a review on our channel. And so I thought that he could also do some leading in the conversation. I know y'all would love to hear his opinion.
Yes.
And we'll just banter from there. So should be a fun hour or whatever, however long we go for.
Yeah.
And so let's start off with what Drew very funny says. Unfunny says in the chat there. He says Andrew deserves a movie to complete his trilogy. I did wonder about that well before Tom Holland came on the scene. I thought it was kind of sad that he didn't get his third movie. I mean, as soon as Tom Holland came on the scene, I should say. I was like, well, what about Andrew Garfield? He didn't get a third movie.
It's just a shame that those movies were not super great. But Andrew Garfield is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He stole the show for me in a lot of ways, and it made me crave more Spider-Man movies from him. Or a show of some kind.
Yeah, I'd watch a show.
I was talking to John Humphrey about it last night at Greg's Christmas party. Greg and Olivia's Christmas party.
Yes.
And John was saying how the first time he watched it, Andrew Garfield is so colorful. He sort of just takes your attention, right? But he watched it multiple times, obviously. And with multiple viewings, he noticed that Tobey Maguire wasn't doing nothing. He was actually honoring the way he played his role in his own Spider-Man films.
Right.
That is how he behaved. He slipped right back into that role, and it actually works for the film. He's aged up, so he's more of that sage Spider-Man.
Yeah.
With the wisdom and whatnot. Whereas Andrew Garfield is, kind of that exuberant, energetic character.
Yeah.
Peter 3. I love that shit.
It's like, why gotta be Peter 3?
Yeah. No, I really like that high energy that he provided, but Tobey Maguire wasn't without his high energy moments because he had a second where he goes, "How is this helping?" Because Tom Holland's like, "Well, I was part of the Avengers, so that's awesome."
So, I just love how cute it was when they were like, Tobey was like, "That's great!" And then he thinks that Tobey Spidey knows what's up, and then it's like, "What is it?"
Yeah.
And then they have that moment, but then he goes back to like, "And how is this helping?"
Right.
It's fantastic.
So Chuck Bertowski, he says, "Hey Tubby, we missed you." And then Andy, are you guys still in New York? We are not in New York. We are very much in Los Angeles.
Back at home base.
SYNTELL is in Denver, Colorado.
Colorado.
And we are in
Yes.
LA. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was a little surprised that Garfield was as lighthearted as he was because out of the not trilogies, out of the sagas, the Spider-Man sagas, his was the darkest. Like nobody dealt with loss on the level as Garfield's character did, and when he just came back and it was just like, hey, this is as usual. That part was a little more surprising to me, and I thought that the original Spider-Man, Tobey Spider-Man, would have been a little bit more upbeat. So I got two different highs and lows regarding the characters, but it still works. This is not a complaint. It's just an observation.
That's interesting. Well, I felt like he did a pretty good job of writing that line between the excited Peter Parker and the damaged Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield, because he was the most emotional of them. I felt like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When he had his moment, it definitely shined because he had the most jacked up stuff happen to him without a doubt.
Right.
His was far darker.
I mean, they all have dealt with loss in some way, right? So.
Yeah. I feel like that's the thing. Like, loss is a huge part of the character, and Tom Holland's Peter Parker hadn't really had
he lost
that.
Uncle Ben.
But they don't. It didn't seem to have like a huge effect.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like it was just one of those things where it's like, there's no Uncle Ben, and that happened.
Andrew Garfield lost Uncle Ben, and he lost Gwen. Yeah.
But all he cares about is Gwen.
Yeah, and like they show you in the film, they just don't tell you. They show you Garfield's loss because you see the seasons change as he's mourning her.
Yeah.
So you get a chance to really see that he had like both feet and hands, spider sense and all in this grief. Yeah. Like it totally overcame him to the point where he even stopped.
Right.
Seemingly being Spider-Man.
So we got a super from David Blon. He says, my favorite moment was Andrew's reaction after saving MJ. Hope to see him involved in some way down the line. At least he doesn't have to lie anymore.
Exactly.
I agree with you, man. That was one of my favorite moments. Like, there's a handful of favorite moments that I would revisit. That's the cool thing about this movie. Say what you will about it not having the best plot, but there was a lot of great moments. And like for me, the Doctor Strange pulling Spider-Man pulling Peter into the mirror dimension. Right. I love that whole sequence. And then that little moment where Andrew Garfield saves MJ was hands down one of my favorite moments in the movie.
Yeah.
I wish they did it like the YouTube video that had come out, the bootleg, fan made YouTube video. I wish they did it like that. But it still worked for me. So let's see. Chuck Bertowski. Hey, I hated your spoiler review. Your non-spoiler review was much better. Because I opened up on my negative feelings in the spoiler review, which you can't do in a non-spoiler review. Yeah. Really.
It's hard. It's hard to do that in a non-spoiler review because you're like, I can't give you the exact details of why this didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But
Mahesh CV, guys.
You didn't like it. You didn't like it overall?
No, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I just here I'm the kind of guy, and just because you say negative things doesn't mean you didn't love the movie or didn't like the movie. I really liked it. I saw it 3 freaking times, so obviously I liked something about it. But that doesn't mean it's not without its complaints. And so
it's definitely got some complaints. Yeah.
And so it's like
far from perfect.
You're okay. It's okay. It's okay to complain about something and still really appreciate it. And so sometimes people conflate complaining with hating something. That's not necessarily the case. You can complain about your girlfriend, you still love her. So, you know what I'm saying?
It's very true.
All in the game did say, made a good point. He said he lost Uncle Ben, a.k.a. Tony Stark.
That's true.
That is true.
That's true.
Yeah. That is
true. He has dealt with a lot of loss.
Yeah.
And he also got blipped, and presumably there's a lot of drama associated with that. Anyway, Sathark Sood, what do you think of the future of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and are also craving Spider-Man 4 and Amazing Spider-Man 3 like me? Could they do that?
Could they do another Amazing Spider-Man and still have Tom Holland?
A Tom Holland sequel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a Andrew Garfield sequel.
I'd watch them all.
Absolutely. I think because I think they are still, even though the trailer for the Spider-Verse sequel is coming out, and there's a trailer for it, I think they're still in the process of finishing writing and animating and everything, because it's going to be a while. I don't think it comes out until like 2023, right?
Is it really?
Well, anyways, I think there's plenty of room for any and everything to happen if you don't mind going the voice acting route. And Tom Holland has already stated that he's kind of tired right now and he wants to thinking about family and wife and kids and all this other stuff. And this is a perfect way for him to still have his foot in the game and still not be all in physically. He could just do some of the voice acting for the next.
He said he's thinking about wife and kids.
Yeah. He says he's done. He's been doing it. He said he's been going like 6 straight years, like nonstop, every single day.
That's just wild to me because he would retire Spider-Man to marry MJ.
They're not gonna get married. I doubt it. I doubt they'll.
You don't think they'll get married? How cool would that be? He marries Zendaya.
Oh my god, they are. I love them as a couple. They are so cute. Like I watched a little video clip of like Tom Holland at the premiere, and he's like doing this little interview, and then Zendaya walks in, and he's like, "Wait, hold on," and then he just kind of looks at her, just like for a whole minute, and he's just like, "Oh, Zendaya's here." Yeah, he did. He did well.
The same way. Hold on for a second. Look what I bagged up. Let me show you what's up.
They'd have some very beautiful long neck babies.
Short long neck babies.
No, they're about the same height. They're about the same. She's taller than him.
She's like 5'8", right? Yeah. She's like a couple inches taller.
She's a little bit taller than him.
Their babies would not be short. Their babies would definitely be taller.
They would be tall. They would be beautiful, beautiful children. Yeah.
So, Adi super chatted saying one of my favorite scenes was to see Matt Murdock. Hope to see the character back in the MCU.
Yep.
Yo, I was like putting ketchup on my hot dog when everyone started cheering about Matt Murdock. The Charles like, "Where's the mustard?" I'm like, "I don't know." And then everyone's cheering, and I'm like, "What?" And there's Matt Murdock talking. I'm like, "Oh my god!" It was one of the coolest things about going back to watch the movie again, at least early on, because I don't know if it's still gonna have the same effect this coming week. It's just the fresh audience. The first round audience.
Yeah.
I saw it on Thursday night, opening night, and that audience was the best. Like they were cheering at all the right moments. It was so much fun. Did you watch? You watched it with a proper audience, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I didn't catch a late night audience. I caught a early morning audience. It was still good, but I'm sure the audience that you had was probably way better.
Yeah, the evening audience.
I had a similar audience at 6 a.m. on Friday for IMAX. It's like that's still like burned into my mind as a fascinating experiment because it's like it's 6 a.m. This is early. Most people don't get up this early to even get to school on time or to work, right?
Right.
And so here are all these people, a couple with a coffee in hand, including myself, and there were still moments where people were like, "Yes!" cheering because it's like it's that good. Those moments are that strong that even though you're barely awake, you're going to cheer. Chuck Bertowski, super. He says the only thing I didn't like was Aunt May's death and how she died. Instead of dying instantly, she got up like nothing happened to her and walked. That was a little bit weird.
That can happen.
I disagree. I thought it was interesting because she's in shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Her body is going through shock.
Right, the adrenaline.
So when you're going through shock, you think you legitimately think you may be okay when all hell is breaking loose inside of your body.
Yeah.
And the reality of your biology catches up with you and.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
No, fair enough.
I haven't seen like a death like that in a minute. Like she went through like all the stages. I don't even think I can remember seeing a movie where somebody's died from going through shock like that.
It was. Go ahead.
No, I mean I was agreeing with SYNTELL there because like I think like that is kind of realistic because all of the adrenaline and stuff running through your body.
It caught me off guard because she got properly knocked down by Green Goblin's surfboard. She got like I wouldn't think she'd be getting up from that. The momentum of that thing, I don't know what that material is.
Yeah.
But it's presumably quite strong. I would have thought she'd be so messed up she's not getting up. And so her to be walking around like everything's cool and peachy and then just drop down. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like that was a little bit it was a little bit strange to me initially. I do like what you're saying. I do like that, the adrenaline's kicking in and she's thinking she's all right, but really she's like
she's suffering internal bleeding and like she's bleeding out and everything.
Like she's going and she just doesn't realize she's going. Like that is cool and I do like that, but it did seem odd to me that she got up after a knockdown like that. That's all.
Yeah, I mean they threw out an interesting line just to give you a frame of reference of the type of damage, and that's when he gets up and he's like, "I think I broke my ribs."
Yeah,
like, you breaking Spider-Man's ribs.
Yeah,
that's a hit. Like we see Spider-Man damn near get thrown through buildings, and he just bops right up like, "Hey, we all right." Yeah, and that was pretty much like the same type of blow. So I'm glad they kind of threw that in there.
Did you see the fan-made version of the moment when Andrew Garfield saves MJ?
No.
Or Gwen? Did he say?
I mean Gwen. Sorry,
did he say Gwen or MJ?
Gwen. He saved
in
Gwen.
the fan.
No.
In the fan thing, he saves MJ.
No, it is Gwen Stacy. It's Gwen Stacy in the Garfield one.
But in the fan-made video, he saves MJ. So I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick to share with you guys because I think it's dope.
I still, to this day, while you're finding that, I still think that moment is one of the dopest moments when he's shooting the web and the tendrils at the very end looked like a hand, and the fingers going. I was like, that was so well done. It's like every piece of his spirit is trying to save this girl, even the webbing. And,
yeah.
You know.
So,
hey, do me a favor, technical thing. Hey, Jaby, can you turn our live camera, our Zoom camera, because I can't see both of y'all's face. It's just so I can connect a little bit more.
Oh.
You can turn it just a little bit. Thank you. Oh, that's 100% better. Felt like I was talking to a wall there.
So
Hello.
here, I'm gonna play this video for you all so you can see this.
Okay.
Oh, why can't I hear it? Oh, because it's on mute. Let me unmute this.
No one's gonna die this time.
Oh wait, this is not it. That's not the video I wanted to show.
Oh no.
Here, I have it right here from our reaction. So
Video.
I'll pull up the link right here. Original. Where's the original?
Where did you put it in there, Jaby? Trailer
Listen,
link.
ho.
Listen, ho. Sometimes I don't do my job properly.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone.
I think they should have included that flashback like they did
Okay.
here. That's all I'm saying. Like, it was slowed down. The whole thing was slowed down, and I think that it you know, for all of my raging against too much slow motion, that would have been a moment that would have been perfect because like everyone's just like, you know, it's with bated breath. They're waiting for
Yeah.
this moment for Andrew Garfield to save her because we all kind of know it's coming, right?
Yeah.
And so this was predicted for a while that Andrew Garfield was going to save her, but to have that moment in the theater was just dead silent, and you see Gwen's face because he's remembering what he went through right before he saves MJ. I thought that would have just made the moment gold. It still worked. I still felt emotional, but I just would have loved it if they did something like this.
Would it be too melodramatic though?
Fuck
I'd
that.
Be too on
I
the
would have
nose.
loved it.
Yeah.
I would have loved it. You got to understand, he's living this moment all the time. Like what he could have done, he could have done to differently in that moment. That's all I'm trying to say. So, anyway, whatever. I'm alone. As always. Lonely Jabs.
All by myself.
The thing about, this is from Nithil KS. The thing about Venom.
I said that already at the top.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did, yeah.
I loved it.
Did you even answer Mahesh TV's question?
Probably
He says,
not.
guys, do you find it disturbing to see some of the clips of the movie being released in YouTube?
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys. The day we were going to watch Spider-Man, this movie, the first time, Jaby was like doing some work on YouTube, so he was trying to upload something, and then you got a video recommended to you, right?
Oh, it
With,
happens a whole bunch of times. There's been a whole bunch of recommendations of bootleg Spider-Man clips. Like people recording it from their phone, and it's like full-on spoilers in the thumbnail. I was losing my mind because it happened multiple times to me over the course of 20, 30 minutes. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck, YouTube? Like, you'll straight up block my videos for having 20 seconds of content that doesn't belong to me and whatever. But then, like, someone will put on a full-on spoiler from a movie that's not even released here yet, and you're not blocking that shit? Like, I can't downvote that because the downvote button doesn't really exist anymore. Like, it's like, and there's not an easy way to say, don't show me anything like this, please. Like, leave me alone. Yeah. It kind of ruined some key moments in the movie for me, but what are you going to do?
So you saw this before you saw the premiere?
Before I went to the movie at all, I knew
suck.
I saw a clip of Tobey Maguire coming through the portal for the first time. I saw a shot of Tobey Maguire in the Spider-Man outfit when they're on the scaffolding, and when they're all hugging.
Yeah.
Those 3 moments on YouTube already, and I'm like, that is such bullshit that people would just put that out there like that.
Yeah, this
But-
guy, all I
Yeah.
could hear was him screaming because I was in the other room, and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just like, "Rah!" And I'm like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah,
And he's like,
because
I'm
it's like,
so
you know,
mad.
there's so much energy that's been invested into this anticipation
Yeah.
that for people to just blow it like that, it's like, damn, it fucking sucks so bad. I wish I could find those people and just choke them,
Yeah.
like just until they stop breathing. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't actually do that. Just, you know,
I remember I was
disclosure.
talking to Court was talking to Courtney, one of our mutual friends who's been on the show, is a friend of the show. And she was saying that she goes through kind of like what LeBron James calls 0 Dark 30, where you just total media blackout regarding content that you really love. And she does it like a month or two out.
Wow.
You know, like she'll watch one trailer and only one. And she's like, I'm not watching anything else, and just completely turns her brain off to all things in order to maintain, you know, that satisfaction of being surprised.
Yeah, totally.
You know, but unfortunately, it's difficult for you to do that, obviously.
Well, ACHARA made the suggestion of opening multiple YouTube accounts so that I don't have to necessarily be hit with that stuff. But anyway, that was from Mahesh CV. He was asking about that. Thank you for your super. And then we answered Sarthuk Sud's super, right?
Yeah.
And we have Adi. One of my favorite scenes was to see Matt Murdock. Hope to see the character back in the MCU. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, he'll be back. I mean, there's a couple of really big hints regarding
Echo, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Echo, because in the comics, Echo is Matt Murdock's girlfriend. So if you are caught up on not Black Hawk, oh my gosh.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. You are caught up on Hawkeye. You know that those worlds are going to pretty much collide, especially if you've seen episode 5.
Yeah.
It's coming around the corner.
Okay, so
I'm excited for it. Yeah.
Cuckoo. Super, he says, meow meow. I also watched No Way Home 3 times already. Venom Left Behind when Tom Hardy disappears must be a Venom intro where he uses Flash as host. Just a theory. Oh, that makes sense. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
I'm hoping that Flash does become the next one, because I like his personality. That kid, the little asshole kid.
You know what's funny? You say that Flash.
That
Flash,
would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he becomes the host.
I actually liked him the most in this movie than the other two.
Yeah, he's growing on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's because he had a slight shift.
Penis Parker? Come on. Penis Parker is absolutely legendary. When I say penis, you say Parker. Oh, you're such an asshole. I love that kid.
We have a super from Chuck Bertowski against Chuck Bertowski. The only thing I didn't like...
We read that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that? Utkarsh. Going to watch your breakdown. See you after 46 minutes and 50 seconds. That was a long video.
It was good.
Audi. DC should learn fan service from Marvel. Well, I mean, they did the ultimate fan service. They gave us the Snyder
Cut. Yeah.
Cam K. Sandman was trying to get the box to go home. He had no affiliation with any of the other villains at any point in the movie. He wanted the box intact.
Yeah, but then my question
Sandman, it was useless.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, I did see someone in the comments saying that, like, what was even the point of Sandman? But, like, wouldn't he want to go back home to his daughter, like, not Sandy? Like, wouldn't you want to go back as just a regular human being? And they're trying to help you. I don't understand his motivations at all, which I think was, like, the problem with this movie is just the villains just seemed, a lot of them just were like, why?
Cannon fodder.
What?
Yeah.
What for?
Well, with Sandman
cannon fodder.
What is going on here? With Sandman specifically, it seemed like he was actually on Peter's side, right?
Yeah.
He's like, look, the sooner we get this done, the sooner I can go back. And then when Green Goblin made his speech about we're gods, we choose what we blah blah blah. That whole thing. Sandman flipped sides. Right? I don't even remember what exactly he did, but it seemed like he just went out the window. He's like, well, fuck this, I'm out. Like, he didn't choose to, like, fight the villains and say, stop, this is going to get me home. You know what I'm saying? So that was just way too ambiguous what was going on with him mentally. Mm-hmm. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. That didn't bother me anywhere near as much as the lizard. The lizard bug.
Pointless.
Yeah.
Like,
pointless.
Why
they
was
didn't even show him getting caught. He was just already there.
Someone was asking me last night, like, why was he in the truck? Like, why did they leave him behind?
Because he didn't want to come up. That's what they said.
He's a super villain. Yeah. And you're just going to leave his ass in the truck all by his lonesome? Like, there was no security around that at all. It was a little bit weird. Shakti Singh says, what do you guys think about Tobey's performance in this one compared to Tom and Andrew? We talked about that earlier in this. It actually grew on me with more showings, the more I thought about it, because he is the more wise one. It did seem to lack energy on initial viewing, and that thought sort of stayed with me. But there were 2 moments, or 2 or 3 moments of Tobey Maguire that made me really happy. I mean, when he first shows up, that's obviously like, oh my gosh, he's here finally. When he's like, how is this helping? that made me happy. And then that ending moment when he stops Tom Holland from killing Green Goblin.
Yeah.
He's got this expression in his eyes that moved me. I don't know why. It just
I've always liked Tobey Maguire as an actor.
It's
he's officially like the sage Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, he's the old head that's been through it and seen it. I like the more subdued version of it.
Yeah, but when he's holding, go ahead.
Oh no, please finish your thought.
When he's holding Green Goblin's thing in place so that Tom Holland can't kill Green Goblin, he's just got this expression of saying, you don't have to do this, man.
Yeah.
Without saying anything.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. It's just all here. And that's one of my favorite moments in the movie. There's a lot of favorite moments, like, but that happens to be one of them. What were you saying, SYNTELL?
No, I was going to say in Enter the Spider-Verse, even though we've got so many different renditions and versions of Spider-Man flying around, like the older sage Spider-Man still is a lot calmer, still, level-headed enough to teach Miles and show Miles a way as to properly swing and all that. So I'm kind of happy that they're keeping that kind of mantra. You do need somebody that's going to, not be freaking out and spazzing and cracking all the jokes. Peter Parker, as we know of, is the jokester, but old man Parker, who's got a bad back, by the way, that just shows you just how old he is.
Right.
He's past that. He's like, this is just, calm down, young bucks. Let me show you how to really do this.
That was such a bizarre moment when he cracks his back. I was like, what is this movie? What is happening? It's so surreal. Because they're touching.
Yeah.
Really? Because it's you?
Yeah.
But not really?
Right. Exactly. Auntie. Yes, but I want the Snyderverse. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. You can play hard enough. You might get it. Abhijit Moore. Did any one of you notice that Jamie Foxx already hinted for Miles Morales during his conversation? Yes.
Yes. I feel like that couldn't have been more on the nose.
So
if they, I felt like at that moment they could have just gone at the camera.
Yeah. Courtney was mad about that. She's like, how come the after credits wasn't Miles Morales? Why didn't we get that? Like, you just mentioned it, but you didn't get it. I go, that was it though. That was the tease. Was Jamie Foxx saying,
I thought you'd be black.
I thought you'd be black, and maybe there's a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. Like, that was the tease.
They haven't cast him yet,
and
maybe.
she's like, that's not enough. I mean, me personally, I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan, so I was more than satisfied with getting a preview for the next Doctor Strange film as the after credits scene.
Speaking of, here, Chirag Wasan says, what do you all think about Wanda and Doctor Strange in the after credits scene?
I love seeing
cool.
that. I mean, that made me happy.
Well, and then we get to see Dark Strange too, which is great too, because that's been a lot of fan theory, and it also gives a little bit more validity to the What If series as well. So people might actually give the What If series a whole new run through and pick up, maybe a couple of gems that were thrown here and there.
There was also that moment with the cape, grabbing Tom Holland Spider-Man, and that was like a cute little callback to What If as well. So
it's also in the comic apparently.
Yeah.
And also, What If is canon too, so keep that in mind. They've said it's canon.
Cam K. Superbird, he says, Flint didn't know they were trying to cure him, and if they did cure him, his chances of retrieving the box before it was destroyed go down.
Oh, because then he would just be an ordinary man and he wouldn't be able to fight against the other villains? Maybe. I feel like at this point we're just trying to.
So wait, what is the logic there? What is Cam K saying?
Well, that Flint didn't know that they were trying to help him.
Yes, he did.
It's established that he's extremely mistrustful. They say that at least twice in the movie. Like, you don't trust anyone, do you? No, I don't. And so, he immediately mistrusts Spider-Man as soon as he zaps Electro into the dungeon, and then he changes
when he comes
his mind.
along and he sits on the couch, he dusts his sand off the couch.
I know it's a little weird. Whatevs.
Did a terrible job of dusting the sand off the couch.
Yeah.
I watched it 3 times. I'm like, you ain't moving shit, dude. You're just making it worse. Biswadip Bhattacharya. I didn't watch Spider-Man 2, 3, and Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, so maybe I didn't have the same excitement as majority of the audience did in No Way Home. Well, you're missing out on all.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I mentioned in my spoiler review. It's like, if you think about this film from an objective standpoint, like on its own, would you enjoy it the same? Like, imagine a kid 20 years from now, this is the first Spider-Man film he watches. is this going to be as exciting, objectively?
Well,
No.
That's what I kind of had posed to you earlier and sent some other friends, and I was like, yo, this film is fun in the nostalgia stake, and it's fun in the moment. But are you going to feel this way about this film 10 years from now, when all the nostalgias run off and all that? I'm like, I don't know if this film is going to stand the test of time.
I will still like it.
Story is what makes you legendary.
Sure,
it's not gimmicks.
Yeah.
It's not special effects. It's not fight sequences. It's story. Story will always stand the test of time. And the story in this is just meh. It's just okay. But we love the visual and we love the spectacle. The spectacle is what's got people going crazy. The spectacle is like what's 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I promise you're probably not going to feel the same way about this film 10 years from now.
Do you think Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a classic?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in at least a good 10 years. I've seen it multiple times, but I need to see it again because a lot of the stuff that I saw in the 80s do not hold up.
Okay. Well, all I was going to say was that I think a lot of people hold that film as a classic. It's all spectacle. You go back and watch it, it's just visual effects. It's like there are good filmmaking moments, but there's no story there at all. Like you get to the end of the movie, you're like, wait, what was this about? Like, what exactly was the point of this journey? And so I feel like for this movie, me, as someone who grew up with these films, with the Spider-Man films, I feel like I'll still enjoy this years later. I just wonder about kids, people who don't even know what Spider-Man is yet, watching this in the future, finding a love for Spider-Man, and then they watch this thing as their first thing. They're like, what the hell's going on? Like, why did anyone like this? How did it make $2 billion at the box office? And so Chuck Patowski, he said that we missed his earlier super chat, so I'm catching up on his. I didn't feel bad in the theater when she died because I already knew, because I saw the spoiler on the Reddit. Everyone was crying in the theater, but I didn't. Well, then you screwed yourself, dude.
Yeah, you screwed yourself. Why are you looking at spoilers in Reddit?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is your own fault, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, I was surprised because I did not cry in that part, and usually it's very easy to make me cry. I got misty, but I didn't cry for some reason. I cried more when Andrew was talking about Gwen and when
his vulnerability,
when he held MJ and
yeah.
he saved her, I cried. And then at the end when Peter was leaving his friends and walking away, that made me really sad.
Dark Legend asks, what is Reddit?
What is Reddit? Don't. It's a black hole. Don't do it.
Aditya Yadav says
awesome black hole.
Aditya Yadav says I want to see him rebuilding his relations with Ned and MJ.
Yes.
We just watched the new Rockstar's breakdown, and I think that he will rebuild his relationship with MJ.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, I know we can go into the really deep waters real quick and talk about the ending and the ridiculousness of I'm just going to make the world forget when there's legal documents and records and videos of you all over the place. Just because you made the world forget doesn't mean YouTube doesn't still exist. News articles, like your face is plastered all over the place. Just because that individual forgot doesn't mean you were forgotten. And then they didn't explain that.
Yeah,
so it's
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say is that we don't know the extent of that spell. We don't know what it erased. We just watched the new Rockstar's breakdown.
Yeah, but
and he mentioned the possibility that it does away with all that stuff. Like, we don't know how powerful it is. If it's powerful enough to go into the memory banks of everybody in the world and erase Peter Parker, at least the connection of Peter Parker to Spider-Man, then presumably that spell's strong enough to wipe out the hard drives and whatever else.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions about that. I mean, even here, Vortex T says, if everyone forgets that Peter Parker ever existed, how does Happy remember Aunt May? The whole reason they met was because he was Peter's chaperone. And so, yeah, it's like, how does that work? That Spider-Man exists, but they don't know that it's Peter? How did the Avengers not know that Spider-Man was Peter? Like, he just never was unmasked? Or how did that happen? And, like, how did his friends not know? Why would they forget that he was Peter Parker after all? I thought the spell was that people would forget that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, not that they would forget Peter Parker overall.
No, they forgot Peter Parker overall. That was the spell.
Well, that spell sucks.
Yeah. That's the spell.
Yeah, and if the spell is that powerful, why didn't you just use that spell on Thanos? make him forget that he's got to use these stones and
Right?
problem solved. So I mean, it's a lot of holes in a lot.
Yeah.
In that.
Maybe he didn't know that spell at the time. I mean, he was still growing in his sorcery.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm not thinking about that. I didn't think about Thanos at all. But, you know, to what you're asking about, like, okay, so if he is, if Happy forgot that he's Peter Parker, how does he know Aunt May and all that?
Yeah.
There's just a gap in his memory. Like, I think that we all have things like that in our lives, like, just naturally. You know, when I look at SYNTELL, I don't think iPhone, even though that's how I met him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I know that's a stupid, bad comparison, but I'm just saying I'm not thinking about that too hard. Beyond after the movie was over, I'm just like, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, he's not remembered by anybody. He's basically off the grid. You know.
Yeah.
What? You don't like it?
Oh no, I think too. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. I thought that was kind of whack. It would be more believable if No Way Home meant that like the only way they could solve this is they did a Rick and Morty and you just say to hell with this universe and they have to put him into a whole other universe that's loosely identical, and then there's No Way Home. Nobody knows who he is, and then he can still continue to like build and keep moving forward. You don't remember that in Rick and Morty? When they,
I didn't watch Rick and Morty,
they
but
fucked the world so bad that they had to absolutely, just do away with it, and then keep the story moving.
The name doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. He doesn't ever say I can't get home. Like,
Yeah.
he's home for a good chunk of the movie.
Yeah. He's hanging out at home.
I want to see him. And so we have other supers that I want to address real quick. Adi, this story in a way opened the way for a multiverse narrative and infinite possibilities for future movies.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they've already started that with Spider-Verse.
Well, What If as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been doing that. Cam K. Unfortunately, I had a strong feeling May was going to die after Marissa Tomei said she needed therapy after reading the script for No Way Home.
I didn't know that, but as soon as she said the iconic lines, with great power there must come great responsibility.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a wrap. Aunt May, you're gone. No one says those words and survives. Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's done so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I'm all over the place because I got so many random moments. I was just thinking about the way Green Goblin power bombed Spider-Man through like 5 floors.
Yeah.
I thought that was such an awesome moment. And then and then smacked his arm around and threw a pumpkin bomb. I was like, yes, good villains.
Yeah, he was good.
He was the only good villain. Everybody else was kind of meh to me.
I like Doc Ock. I thought Doc Ock was cool.
I like that bridge sequence. I know that you had issues with it.
I didn't like it.
I know that you had issues with the bridge sequence. I watched that 3 times, and every time I'm like, damn, this is dope. The way that this is put together. There's also this one shot where the camera's looking down, and Doc Ock grabs this, this construction pipe, and it swings right by the camera. I like how that's all put together with the flips and all that stuff. The only moment that pulled me out a little bit was when Doc Ock throws a car at Spider-Man, and he does this backflip over it. There's just a second where it's like, it looks clearly CGI. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I like the whole sequence. I thought it was really neat. I kind of
fight scenes.
I kind of get thrown a little bit by, like, at the beginning when Spider-Man's like running away from everybody. Where's his phone? Like, how does that, like, I get caught up on
Where
the weird.
do you put it?
I get caught up on dumb logistics like that. Like, okay, so Doc Ock takes a piece of his nanotech, right?
Yeah.
And that thing covers his entire, all of his arms. I'm like, hold up, how much nanotech was in this little piece of his armor to cover
So much.
all of his arms? I get a little bit wigged out by stuff like that. I'm like, let me just turn my brain off, not think about this too hard. But it doesn't make sense to me when I think about it for more than a second. Anyway, Kukuchiku. Regarding your review, Doc Ock was never evil in the original movie. Doc Ock destroys his own machine to save the world. In my opinion, he was always good, but overdriven by tentacles.
Yeah, the tentacles.
He's right, because his arc went full completed on its own. Mm-hmm. So that was the part that kind of threw me too as well. I was like, well, his arc completes in the end of Spider-Man 2. So that was just kind of weird.
He was pulled out before he was pulled out while he had Spider-Man by the neck.
Right. Yeah.
Presumably.
So he hadn't been changed back yet.
Right. Yeah, he hadn't completed his arc where he was pulled out from his timeline.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, like, okay, so you heal all these dudes, and then they're thrown right back into the fold of their own universe. What happens exactly?
They're like, whoa, Spider-Man, I'm good now.
Right?
I'm good now.
Because
Had a change of heart.
Yeah, because so like Willem Dafoe, right? He comes to he's cured because he's got the juice in his neck.
Yeah.
Right. He's thrown back into his universe right before the thing's supposed to impale him. He's like, no, but I'm good. You know what I mean? What exactly is the outcome here? Like, okay, so Electro.
Don't tell Harry.
Yeah, exactly. Electro's thrown back into his universe, right?
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, maybe they can.
Wasn't Sandman always a bad guy? He was like, I know he's got a kid, but wasn't he always?
No, he just walks away into Spider-Man 3.
No,
he's just like, and
I know
I'm
that.
sorry,
I know that,
and
but
he
like,
just dips.
but before he got his sand powers, you gotta be careful. When you
he was
fall.
a crook.
Yeah, I love that line.
I mean, he was one of the inciting reasons why Ben died. So
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, like, so you took away his sand power. Does that necessarily make him less paranoid and less predisposed to criminal activity?
Like I said, the story's weak, fam.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
Once you get past the spectacle, the story's really weak.
Yeah.
It's really weak.
Yeah.
But you know what you're gonna do?
It's still fun. It's still a fun, entertaining movie, and I enjoyed the crap out of it. But yeah.
She might be stupid, but she's got a hot bod. So.
She's a 10
Yeah.
in the body.
Yeah. Chuck Bertowski. Hey, Achara, as you know, I have already watched it 3 times, but I like the movie so much that I'm going to watch it one more time in IMAX.
Yes.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Dude.
Srikar Belamarthi. Thank you for your super. I will say this. We watched Endgame 3 times in theaters as well, and the final time was in IMAX. And after watching it in IMAX, I'm like, this movie has been watched. Like, I don't necessarily need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I own it. I think I own it on 4K Blu-ray, but like, I haven't properly sat down to watch it in a long time, other than when I'm folding laundry and stuff. I'm still not fully engaged with it. But my point in mentioning that is, after watching No Way Home 3 times, the 3rd time being in IMAX, at the end of it, I'm like, I could probably still watch it at least one more time.
Me too.
You know, like just a proper sit down all the way through.
Yeah.
Beast 007. Thank you for your generous super. Y'all think a good way to introduce the Spider-Man and not have them all like fall in the street or something with their suits and just point at each other lost? That would have been interesting.
Yeah, I did want
they
that
would've done
moment. Yeah, I wanted that pointing moment to have them in costume and like be a direct replica of the meme.
It would have been too on the nose.
It would have been. But I mean, they were doing a bunch of stuff on the nose, so may as well. That would have been hilarious. But I mean, it was fine in the lab. Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I thought that moment was going to happen when they were in the lab mixing everything up, and Ned is like, "Hey, Peter," and I thought they were going to like do the point.
They did.
Which
They
one are you
did.
talking about?
They did.
No. Oh, okay.
They did. That was the moment.
Yeah.
That was the moment.
Oh,
that was the
okay.
meme moment.
Andrew Garfield really emphasized it.
Yeah, he stood there like this. The other two were kind of like, but Andrew Garfield was like, no, I'm committing 100%. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny, but like I didn't recognize that the first time until I think it was the second viewing. You turned to me and you're like, that's the meme moment. And I was like, oh, I get it now.
I missed it too, obviously.
Yeah, because I wanted to see it in costume. Yeah.
Peter 3. So, Abhijit Moore. Just a thought. Spider-Man, my identity is revealed. I need to fix it. Iron Man in press conference. I'm Iron Man. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, they're different.
I did think it was a little bit funny that Andrew Garfield just pulls his mask off when he jumps through the portal. Did he know? He knew? I guess he knew because he saw the news stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
The one line that I thought was a little bit odd was when Tobey Maguire goes, wait, he's not your friend. Because
he's been following the news.
Right.
That's
It's just the way he delivered it just sounded kind of funny. I was a little bit confused by
Yeah.
that line. Utkarsh. I also want Amazing Spider-Man 3. Andrew's the best.
yes. Yes, he's awesome.
Srikar Belamarthi. How was your reaction when Doc Ock and Tobey at last? I liked it. Olivia, Greg's fiance, was complaining about how we didn't get something like that for Tobey Maguire and Green Goblin. They don't actually have a moment of reconciliation, of peace. You know, Andrew Garfield's lying on the ground after being post-stabbed. You know,
Yeah.
and
and
no, you mean
No, that
Tobey
was Toby
Maguire.
was post-stab.
That's what I said.
Toby
What
was
You
is
said
that?
Andrew Garfield.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Toby was stabbed, right?
Yeah.
He's just lying on the ground, trying not to die. And Green Goblin looks at him. That was the only moment where they're like next to each other. They don't actually have a thing the way Toby and Andrew and Doc Ock have. It's a lot of names.
Yeah.
I had a problem with the stabbing. I'm like, why would you have such a dramatic moment about the stabbing and there be no stakes? I'm like, if you're gonna go through all that, I was like, oh man, they are gonna kill Tobey off. I was like, because I thought that would have been dope.
I thought
like kill Tobey off, close out that storyline, and he does his final last big sacrifice, and then it's like, merely a flesh wound. I was like, why did you make it so dramatic then? You should have just grabbed it. Done away with it. It just led me in the wrong space mentally.
I was kind of losing my mind when that happened, because when Tobey like stood in front of him and stopped it, I was just like, no, you're setting yourself up. You turned your back on the enemy. No, don't. This is a rookie mistake. And then he gets stabbed. And then I think in the first viewing, I was like, oh no, this can't happen. And then it was just like you said, it's just a scratch. It's fine.
I mean, it was a good moment for the audience because everyone just was like, oh. They just went when Tobey got stabbed.
The collective
and he's like,
gasp.
He gets up, he's like, I've been stabbed before.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
the healing factor's on 1,000 in this movie.
Yes.
Because just like hours before the final battle, our main Spider-Man, my man gets his ribs broken and he gets shot. And then like an hour later, he's like, nah, we good. We can finish up this final battle. I was like, damn, you was just shot, my guy.
Well, I
rushed it off.
I assume that his outfit deflected the bullet or something because
I thought that might have been
when Doc Ock tried to stab him, his needle thingy got bent up because of the suit. So they established that is a armor of some kind. It's established. It's been established, SYNTELL. Wizalande.
That man was shot.
Yeah. Wizalande. Thoughts on Andrew and Miles in parallel with Tom? That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, I would love to have all of them together, all four of them. That'd be interesting.
Just put all the spiders in there.
Chuck Bertowski. Matrix movie review, re-upload when? It'll come.
Next week.
It'll come.
Yeah.
I hope this is from Odile Gamer. I hope we get a different Eddie Brock. Hopefully Odile's still here. I hope we get a different Eddie Brock Venom because the other version of Eddie Brock was not a villain, and I would love to see an evil villain version of Venom in the MCU.
Well, you might get it because he left a
Venom
egg on the bar table.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Here's one I saw from Bishology. It says, would Ned turn into Hobgoblin or become a sorcerer in the future Spider-Man movies?
Sorcerer.
I thought that moment when Ned came up to Tom Holland and was like, I will never try and kill you or something like that. Like after he found out about what happened with Tobey Maguire's best friend, I thought that was maybe like a potential foreshadowing moment that maybe later on he will actually try and kill Spider-Man. And also now the fact that he doesn't remember that he's Spider-Man's best friend, that opens the door up to that. But then now they've added this whole other thing where like, oh, maybe he's a sorcerer. So now I'm like, I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah, and he's a little too chunky to be on a glider. Just a fat man gliding just isn't really appealing to the eye.
We gotta make it all equal. Why not? You can glide.
No, your little tubby ass need to stay grounded, homie.
So Kylo Razor says, Andrew got fired because he didn't attend a Sony event in 2014 where they were going to announce The Amazing Spider-Man 3 for 2017 release and wanted Garfield there for the news, but he was sick. Yeah, I heard that.
That sounds really mean.
I heard that because Sony's a Japanese company, and
that's correct.
They're all about, respect and manners and stuff like that. In Japan, when you say be there at 5, people are there at 4:55. There is no being late in Japan.
Yeah, if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, if you're on, exactly. Japan is all about that stuff. And so I had heard that story before. I don't know how plausible it is that Andrew Garfield would get fired from doing Spider-Man 3 in his own trilogy because he didn't attend a conference.
I don't believe that.
I don't know how.
I don't believe that.
But
You're gonna throw away a potential $100 million franchise because he was late. Get out of here.
Sony does some weird stuff sometimes, man. Like I'm surprised we have a PlayStation 5 because they were talking about not making consoles at PlayStation 3. Like Sony keeps talking about getting rid of this division and that division and this thing and that thing. Like they don't have Sony Vaio laptops anymore. They keep trying to kill shit in their own business. So them not having Andrew Garfield anymore, it doesn't surprise me all that much because Sony doesn't always make the best decisions. I mean, look at the whole kerfuffle that happened on PlayStation 3 back in the day with where everyone's information got leaked because of like a hack or something. It was, you remember? So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I wouldn't put it necessarily past them, but Dill Gamer says, how is Peter being erased from everyone's memory going to affect Flash's books?
He never had a book. I don't know.
Well, just disappear.
It's lies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my whole thing. I'm like, there's tons of media out there that's got him on it.
That's why it's a powerful spell.
Forgets. Yeah.
Nithil KS says Daredevil and Spidey film. Kingpin the Daredevil villain, who is an original Spidey villain, now in Hawkeye. The connections are really intertwined. Hype.
Yes. Yes. People are losing their damn minds about this.
Chuck
Quite rightly
Butowski.
so.
Hey, Achara, can we please do a Patreon hangout on December 26th? Also make the review unlisted instead of public next week.
No, it's got to be made public. We have to make it public. So.
I would love to see Tom Hardy in Venom. Tom Hardy Venom in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe. Yeah, I was hoping to see that. It was teased at us. We talked about that earlier in the stream. It was teased at us. So it's disappointing that he was just sent back.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if that movie was stuffed. It was like there's no way you can do any more.
Or is there? You know, maybe you can. I don't know.
Vortex. If everyone forgets that Peter Parker ever existed, how does Happy remember?
Yeah, we covered that. Yeah.
I do think that Andrew Spidey will fight Tom Hardy's Venom. Oh, that would be interesting.
That would be. I would.
Well, they've absolutely signed on. Oh my gosh, not Tobey, not Andrew. Holland, excuse me. They've signed on Holland for a whole other trilogy.
That's
so
true.
You know that's going to be good. That's going to be there. And Garfield, I thought he had said something in an interview not too long ago about how he's willing if Sony's willing. So
it's like, hey, Sony,
we'll see.
Will you forgive me?
And based off of the buzz, because everybody's just really all in on Garfield's performance, it wouldn't surprise me. There's plenty. It's a Spider-Man multiverse.
Yeah,
there's plenty of room for him. It's just a question of how much money do you think you can make off of him being a part of the universe?
Yes.
So
is the answer.
I could see it happening. The answer is yes.
Did you enjoy the mirror dimension stuff?
Mirror dimensions. Oh, when he was fighting Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, I wasn't all the way blown away because I was blown away when I saw Doctor Strange, and I saw that. Then I was like blown away. I was like, this is absolutely amazing. And then I saw this version. I was like, oh, okay, I'm entertained.
So
I loved it.
Your response. I have this. I saved this from earlier. Nicholas Garcia says the Doctor Strange sequence is getting old. They need to up their game for his movie. How do you feel about that?
How old are you?
I'm with you on that though. I'm with you because that's how I felt in this. Okay, we've seen this before.
But how do you up it any further? That shit is bananas. Like how do you? I
don't know. It is Banana Town, but like how do you up it? It's like the same kind of thing where I don't think I'm going to give a spoiler, but so the Matrix, right? Original Matrix came at a time when we hadn't really seen anything like that, and it like blew our minds away, right?
Yeah.
And then new Matrix, if they're still doing the same kind of stuff and there's not any like super new upping the ante with that stuff, it's not really, if they're just doing all the same things, it's not really going to blow our minds away in the same way.
Yeah.
And I've already seen this movie, so I'm not going to say anything else. But
I can't respond to that without giving away anything, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the limitations of entertaining through cinematic experimentation, we're nowhere even close to being capped. I think there's a lot of really ingenious people that can improve on the storytelling. We just haven't seen it. That's what I'm waiting for.
Right.
Is whoever it is, there's probably some YouTuber out there experimenting with camera stuff that's absolutely mind-blowing, that if you throw Disney money behind it and put it on a big screen, you can meet those expectations of the next Doctor Strange. But I agree with whoever left that comment. It's like, if you're giving me the same thing over again,
I liked it.
It's not gonna have the same effect.
I just wish it was.
No, I didn't say it was bad. No, it was good.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't like, oh my god.
I was.
Oh my god.
I was so happy during that whole sequence. I'm like, this is amazing.
It was. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was really cool.
From the moment Spider-Man exits the broken glass thing, I was just so happy. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I am so happy. Like, he goes through that like portal thing and then the train and he's swinging through everywhere and he has no idea where the hell he's going. Presumably his experience with Jake Gyllenhaal has helped him to navigate these weird waters. But I just wanted more of it, honestly. And then when it all shatters and you're seeing like the multiple trains and stuff like that,
the trains was cool. Yeah,
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can maybe even use the same techniques and just upgrade it to a whole other level. I mean, like their version of breaking the world like that isn't new. Inception did it.
Yeah.
When Inception did it first, and we were all like, oh my God, they're folding the world on top of each other and did all that. And then we saw Doctor Strange's version. It's like, wow, we didn't think it could get any iller than that. And it did. Yeah. So I think there's still headroom.
Yeah. Totally.
I just want to say thanks to Rugged for your super. He didn't say anything. Bishology says, would love to explore Kamar Taj more in Multiverse of Madness as we have a teaser in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Mayank Singh says, don't you think Doctor Strange that got back from Mirror Dimension trapped by Peter might be evil Doctor Strange trying to interfere with the multiverse? No. I didn't get that sense at all.
Not in the Mirror Dimension. No.
Do you think Spider-Man will get that symbiote? No, I don't. Because they already explored that with Sam Raimi and that went south. And so anything that reminds people of that, I think that'd be too much.
If they did it better,
why
not?
It's not needed. It's just not.
I think there's still headroom for that too. I think there is.
You want him to get hit by the symbiote again?
Well, I mean, if nobody remembers Spider-Man and Spider-Man is, or at least nobody remembers Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he could still be enemy number one, and then you get the symbiote that is evil and makes Spider-Man do these evil things. It could just add to the lore that Spider-Man is a bad guy. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's still kind of room for it a little bit.
Snuggles says there's only been one Doctor Strange film. What do you mean something different? Spider-Man No Way Home scene was different. I mean, I get what SYNTELL's saying. The stuff in Doctor Strange was pretty epic. And they also played with that stuff in Infinity War, So it wasn't just in Doctor Strange.
It's just I think what we're saying is like the concept we've seen it before, so in his next standalone film, if we could kind of explore it more, see it bigger, badder, stranger, like cooler or something new, that would be really cool. Yeah.
Chintan Patel says, do you think they should develop the chemistry between Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Zendaya MJ again? Or a new actress like Gwen Stacy should be introduced? I do have a response to that.
Okay.
So, here's the thing. If he meets a new lady, what would be the whole point of his sacrifice of saying goodbye to MJ and Ned?
Sure, yeah.
It would undermine that sacrifice completely. Not that Marvel's opposed to undermining their own things, but
it's true.
I think that would completely undermine it. If anything, I think it would make people upset too. I think that if anything, he goes back to MJ, or somehow they stumble upon each other, and there's a whole dramatic thing, a dramatic episode of like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, and there's still room for Gwen Stacy in this universe, I think. But
Gwen is coming, man.
Yeah.
A live action Gwen, another one that's coming. There's no way she's not coming. There's no way.
She's got to be.
It's way too hot.
And
she's too hot of a topic right now.
She's dope in Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would make sense to have her, but maybe not as a love interest for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but she could be anything else.
Chuck Bertowski, your spoiler live stream is much better than your bros. His isn't even out until tomorrow.
Yeah, he's not.
But thank you, Chuck Bertowski. Vinayak Swaroop. I liked how the whole theater went out when Tom Hardy just disappeared without any plot in the movie.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
I would have loved to witness that collective Aria when he just disappears. But it was that kind of what the F moment. You put him here and now he's going away? Why?
I would have loved that.
Oh my God.
I would have loved to have been there for that.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, in the second showing with the Thursday night audience,
yeah,
when people lost their shit when Doc Ock showed up, and I was like, didn't y'all know he was in this movie? And then and then it was furthermore was Green Goblin showing up. People were losing their shit. And then Doctor Strange pulls Peter Parker into the Undercroft.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in the theater was like, oh. Because that whole sequence got undermined because we're all expecting a Green Goblin Spider-Man fight on the bridge.
Yeah.
You know, it was all leading towards that. Chintan Patel, thank you for your super. And so, let's see, there's only been, do you think, Tom, they should develop, okay, we got that. What about future of Daredevil MCU? Are we going to see any solo Daredevil movie in the future? I would love that. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting a Daredevil film instead of a show. I personally like the show because I like the character so much. It's fun to spend, you know, what do you call it? A substantial amount of time with him over the course of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I'm used to watching him. But I wouldn't mind a movie. That would be. I'm just more of him.
Yeah.
For me, it's like Doctor Strange and Daredevil are my two favorites. So any more of them, put them in the same movie. I don't like, which we did here. I would love to see more of them. Whatever that is, you know. What about the future? If everyone is going to forget Peter Parker, doesn't that apply to two other Spideys as well? I don't think so.
I think it's specifically to this one.
Specifically to this universe.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weak plot point.
Yeah.
We just talked about it. It's a terribly weak plot point.
I mean, them even showing up was a little bit strange to me. If you think about that, I'm like, well, maybe because they know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, that's why they show up, because they are aware Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's why they're in that universe.
Right.
I just assumed it was the whole Into the Spider-Verse, and he shows up and he's like, there's like this thing, and Peter Parker sees a version of himself, and he's like, oh, I'm not where I need to be. And they both got that. So then when Ned was like, show me Peter Parker, they had already had the information. And then they just was like, oh, okay, well, you're looking for me. I already know there's another Peter Parker. And that's kind of like how the dots connected. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
Suraj Nair, thank you for your super. Not sure if black people need the validation of having a black Spider-Man. We should get superheroes retain.
We
their
should let
ethnicity. We should let superheroes retain their ethnicity and sexual orientation.
Well, there's always been a black Spider-Man with Miles Morales.
Miles is there.
He's always been black.
How old is Miles Morales as a character? Like, how long has that? When was that created?
Maybe about 15 years ago, maybe about 10, 15 years ago.
It's
relatively new in comic age length. He's a new character, relatively speaking.
I am of two minds about it. I mean, you know, I a long time ago on Good Thing Bad Thing, our old show, me and SYNTELL had a little talk show that we would do. I talked about appropriating the white superheroes with like minorities, because, you know, make an Asian Batman, make a black Spider-Man. Like, I talked about that stuff a long time ago without realizing Miles Morales was a thing, right?
Right.
And Courtney Wright, who, for those of you who don't know who Courtney Wright is, she's African American. She was adamantly opposed to that idea. She's like, no, I don't want you changing the ethnicities of my superheroes. I don't care if they're white, and there's mostly white superheroes. I want them to retain who they are. And I was like, all right. They changed Aquaman, and no one batted an eye, you know?
Right.
So I think it's fine to do sometimes. So to what you're saying, Suraj, it's tricky. It's like, it only works one way, though. Because you wouldn't want to change. We saw what happened when they turned Goku from Asian to white. You know, everyone lost their shit. So you can't go that direction.
Yeah.
You can only color white. You can't take away color and make it white.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, because they appropriated Genghis Khan, they appropriated Cleopatra, white folks have appropriated a whole lot of shit.
Well, in the last 10 years. Last 10 to 15 years. When they did that for
white people appropriate damn near everything, as a matter of fact. So it absolutely goes the other way.
I don't know, with Ridley Scott when he did the Moses remake.
Oh yeah.
Everyone got really.
They made Jesus white, Moses white. They made Pharaoh's white, Cleopatra white. Genghis Khan's white.
Jesus will always be white. It's for white people.
Jesus is not white. Listen.
Jesus is brown.
Jesus ain't white. I hate to break the news to you, but Jesus is not Caucasian.
Jesus will always be white to white people. Everyone. Well, here's the thing. Wherever Christianity is, people sort of see their own version of Jesus. You know, that's just how people, they want to see their own. They want to see, you know.
Yeah. But I think
Jesus.
that's why it's important to have representation in stuff like this, because it allows people to see themselves as those types of characters, and it can be incredibly empowering, especially for like young people, for kids, to be like, oh, like the superhero looks like me.
Right.
It's awesome.
Well, to what you're saying,
it is a very big deal when your superheroes look like you. It's a huge deal for a superhero.
Yeah.
You want some superhero to look like you somewhere in the universe.
But I think to what you're saying, man, like there's always going to be backlash if you try to take a character who is a person of color and make him white. Today. That's all I'm trying to say. You can't go that way. You can go the other direction and make a person who's formerly white into a person of color, and you will have some backlash. There was backlash with Annie, I think, but generally speaking, that's the only acceptable way to go. You can't have it be reversed. You know what I mean?
We live in interesting times, because I grew up in a time period where everything was always whitewashed, always at every moment. Right. And now, just in the span of the last 3 years, now all of a sudden it's like, well, you can't go the other way. So for me, it's like the vast majority of my life, it's always been.
Why am I angry?
So it's just odd. It's just odd to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can't make white people this. I'm like,
I spent my life being mad. Don't take this away from me. Abhishek Monty says Spidey will 100% get hit by the symbiote, but in the comics, Flash Thompson also gets hit by it. So without Tom Hardy, this is how the film can pan out.
I hope that's how it happens. I do, because I think Flash. Come on, man. That little kid that plays Flash. Well, he's a grown man now. That little guy is awesome, man. He's funny as hell. And he's the perfect asshole to get the symbiote.
It's true.
So Dream. Oh, there's a couple supers. Dream Chaser, super. He says, so just to explain, you guys, Eddie got pulled when Doctor Strange's spell went wrong, and sent back when the spell was complete, just like the villain. Yeah, no, I understood that part. That wasn't lost on me. It was just confusing as to why Eddie would get pulled in at all when he has no idea that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But then it's been explained, both by people in the chats and in the new Rockstar's breakdown, that it's the hive mind of the symbiote. That's why he's able to. Something's there about that. Anyway, Chuck Patowski, would you like to see Ben Affleck cameo in Daredevil?
That would be really fun.
Yeah, why not? It would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be funny. Why not? Yeah. For those of us who actually watched that Daredevil movie.
It's only a handful of us.
Come on.
12 of us
that
actually saw the Daredevil movie.
That rain scene with Elektra, iconic.
Aditya Vig, I appreciate your Metal Gear Solid 5 reference. He goes, why are we here? Just to suffer. Kukuchiku, thank you for your super. I hate that they gave Sorcerer Supreme title to Wong. It must be something to do with Multiverse of Madness. I'm anxious with this new movie and Scarlet Witch. They explained it in the film.
He was gone.
Yeah.
He was gone for 5 years.
Doctor Strange
Somebody got to take the mantle.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I don't understand why they wouldn't give it back to him. Maybe it's just like, okay, well, I guess I'm Sorcerer Supreme now, so I am forevermore until I die.
Have you heard that actor talk not in his Wong voice?
No, let me guess. Is he British?
He is British, yeah.
Yeah, he's British.
Yeah, I knew it.
But
the British takeover, boy.
his voice sounds nothing like that. It's just there's as much of a disparity between Wong and the actor playing him as the actor who played Tony Soprano. Like the guy who plays Tony, I forgot his what's his name again? James Gandolfini. James Gandolfini sounds nothing like Tony Soprano. Nothing like him. He's like his voice is totally night and day different, right? And so it's the same thing. And it trips me out. I'm like, no, that's not. You have an accent. You've got a Chinese accent. You don't sound like that. You know, it's the weirdest thing.
It's a testament to how good they are, though. That's hat tip.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. The British invasion. It was like I was watching Spider-Man: No Way Home, going, there's a lot of Brits in this movie, all talking in an American accent to each other, and it irks me a little bit. I'm like, y'all couldn't find. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is.
Gotta love the Cumber snatch.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just so awkwardly funny.
But anyway, What can you do? We've all fallen in love with them now.
Yep.
I hate Adi. Thank you for your super. As long as it does justice to the story, unlike Ghostbusters. I haven't seen Ghostbusters yet.
No, I think he's talking.
I heard it was good.
No, I think he's talking about referencing back to the whole thing about, taking traditionally white characters and making them black or changing the gender or whatever. He's like, I don't care so long as it does justice to the story, not like the Ghostbusters with the ladies.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, no one likes that Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
No one likes it because
it.
no one likes it because it's not good. That's why they don't like it.
Yeah.
There
Well,
we
that's
go. It
that's what
just
he's
could have been
saying.
better.
It's like the story wasn't good, so we didn't like it. You get me?
Yeah, I mean,
And it went
Addy,
really
am I
out
right?
of his way to prove a point. I'm like, it went way out of his way to prove a point. So I was like, okay, we get it.
yeah. I don't want to get off topic and talk about Ghostbusters. So.
Yeah.
Nathan Gardal. Thank you for your super. Where does No Way Home rank in the MCU for you? Someone asked me at the first showing of Spider-Man No Way Home that I went to, is this your favorite Spider-Man movie? And my immediate gut feeling was probably not.
Yeah.
But then I also couldn't answer what my favorite Spider-Man movie was.
Same.
And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, if I had to pick one right now, it would probably be Into the Spider-Verse. That would be my favorite one.
It's not even my favorite live action, much less regular Spider-Man film. I think Homecoming was better in the sense that you were wowed in a way that you've never seen the Spider-Man story being told in that fashion. It was so different from Tobey and Garfield's way. It was a lot more fun and lighthearted, and he actually looked like a kid. He didn't look like a 30-year-old man playing 16. It touched on a lot of tones that was refreshing. This is just spectacle. It's awesome and amazing spectacle, but it didn't move me in the same way as Homecoming did. Homecoming was out of this world.
I loved Homecoming, actually. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about Jamie Foxx in this movie?
It was ridiculous, and then I guess he got tired of getting clowned on the internet for looking like a complete idiot. And
is that what happened?
Homecoming. No, not Homecoming.
Amazing Spider-Man
2.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and he was like, "Well, I'm just going to be sexy Jamie Foxx," which is ridiculous. I'm like, why? It does nothing for the story for you to be sexy Jamie Foxx at all. It added nothing. Like, if they had a reason to justify him being that and being suave and smooth, then cool. I would have been all for it. But to just have it was. I didn't get that. I'm like, why would you do that?
We felt the same. And someone in the comments on one of our videos, it was like a spoiler video or something where we were talking about that. They were all like, yeah, but when he became Electro, he wasn't that nerdy guy anymore. So,
No,
like,
he was a guy who was haunted by like pain and rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, and wanted to be loved and like somebody like me, like me.
And
that was his whole thing.
This new character just didn't make sense at all. It just felt like they were like, okay, well, you can just be you, Jamie Foxx. And granted, like, he had a lot of really funny lines.
It's just a tree, man.
Yeah.
It's just a tree.
It's just a tree. Yeah. He's great. He had so many like funny lines, but it just didn't make sense for the character, so it just felt a little bit jarring.
The part that makes me the most enraged is when he grabs his own chin. I think he's talking to Sandman in Happy Hogan's apartment, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, I like the new me. And it's like this chin grab moment, and I'm like, this is so bad what you're doing. This is awful.
It's horrible.
Why, Jamie Foxx?
And then just the whole character in general didn't really move the story forward.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
how do you like the new?
How do you like the new?
There's really only two villains.
Yeah.
It's just Doc Ock and Green Goblin. Everybody else is an afterthought.
But I will say though, there are a couple of moments that I really like a lot with Jamie Foxx, like when Tom Holland puts the arc thing on him.
Yeah, the arc reactor.
And he goes, I got a question for you. These your Legos? Like the seriousness with which he delivered the line. It's ironic because you're expecting him to ask something completely different, and he's asking about the Legos, the most mundane thing possible.
Yeah.
So he does have some moments in the movie. I just wish that it was delivered as the guy that we met in Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, somehow.
I agree with you
100%
on that. You could have done that and trust Jamie to make a good actor's choice and deliver those lines as that character.
Yeah.
This was a whole just different.
Yeah.
It was a whole different thing.
Jamie Foxx just didn't feel like doing that again.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna ever be that person again. I'm gonna be sexy Jaby from here on out.
Yeah.
He pulled a Jennifer Lawrence basically because she hated being what's her name in X-Men because of the costume.
Oh yeah, Mystique.
Mystique. She hated doing that shit, so she's like, I'll come back if you don't make me do that the whole time. And so they hired her back again. You know, and for most of the movie, she's not like Mystique. Blue. Danny Longlegs, thank you for your generous super. I noticed a pretty major plot hole during my third viewing. It doesn't make sense for Peter to insist MJ and Ned aren't safe around villains, but is perfectly willing to endanger his surrogate mother. What?
True.
Wait. What? Break that down for me. I'm missing something.
Okay, so he specifically said to MJ and Ned, no, don't come with me. I won't be able to like concentrate if I keep thinking you might be in danger. But he's totally cool with Aunt May being there. Like, doesn't he love his aunt, his mother figure?
Yeah. Happy Hogan.
Yeah.
Well, she was doing the sage. He needed her
to sage the apartment.
The sage was so random too. And then also, like, if you're really not trying to endanger your friends, then why would you give MJ the box?
Yeah.
He had no one else to give it to. There's no Avengers in this universe. Just Spider-Man.
Well, then throw out that whole I don't want to endanger you.
We needed Falcon to show up with a speech, man.
Yeah.
Do better.
Yeah, I know. Falcon shows up with a speech. That's what the villains really needed, was a Falcon speech.
They would have just been like, wait, what? Send me back.
Exactly.
They would have gotten so
like,
scared.
Shut him up and just send me back.
Do better, Sandman. Abhishek Mahanti, thank you for your super. Who in the hell actually broke the multiverse? Doctor Strange with Peter Parker, Wanda, Sylvie, or Ultravision from What If? They all did. Broken.
It's so broken now. So broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So broken.
Hey, so random question. Did you catch in the interview, they was trying to reference Nick Fury, and he said Nick Fury's been off planet for like 5 years or whatever it is. Did y'all caught that?
Yes.
Yeah, with the Skrulls. So the Nick Fury that he met during Far From Home.
Yes.
Yeah, Far From Home was more than likely a Skrull, is what we're assuming.
No, they established that. They established that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What the fuck? That was so dramatic.
I know. I was like, I wanted to cover, but I had to move this out of the way, and then it turned into like a whole flailing production.
All
Sorry.
right, then. So it wouldn't be a chart without drawing attention to herself.
That's right. That's right.
Nits, thank you for your super. Hi, Jabs, Achara, and SYNTELL. I have a question. Why don't we have any Asian, Black, or Brown superheroes? I mean, come on. It's high time, 2022.
Oh, they're coming. Well, we already have Shang-Chi, and then we got
Falcon.
Yeah, we do have Falcon. Yep. We also have
Black Panther is going to be replaced.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like there's some black ones.
It's in the name.
And we got what's her name? Monica Rambeau's coming up. And it's going to be like
Shang-Chi is Asian.
Miss Marvel is Pakistani, right?
Shang-Chi is Asian.
Yeah, Shang-Chi is Asian. Who else have we got? Yeah, we've got.
They're getting better.
They're coming. They're coming. And
what's her name? Ironheart is she's black.
Riri.
Shuri is a possibility that we'll see her back a little bit more than we had in previous times.
If they can sort out whatever drama is going on with Letitia.
I'm a little bit annoyed that Miles Morales is referred to as the Black Spider-Man because he's mixed race.
He's mixed, yeah.
And it should be acknowledged that he's mixed race because
it's the whole Cablinasian Tiger Woods thing. You know, Tiger can claim whatever it is that he wants, you know, and create these magical words that show justice to his origin, but
he's my peeps too.
In the public eye, it's like, dude, you black.
Yeah. Right. Unless you're Thai, and then you're all like, Tiger, we love you.
Yeah. No, but the thing about it is, I mean, to what you're saying, Tiger. When I hear the word Tiger, I think of the Indian superstar
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods, he kind of denounced his Asian side. He doesn't really acknowledge it. Just like Jessica Alba, she got shunned by the Latino community because she sort of denounced her Latin side.
Right.
And so that I don't know what that's about. I don't know why Tiger would not acknowledge his Thai side. So it's like he doesn't even acknowledge it. So why would the rest of the world?
Yeah.
Except for Thai.
See,
people.
but that's the thing. It's like when you have this whole what I identify. There's one thing what you can identify as, and then there's how the world identifies you. Those are two totally different things.
Yeah, totally.
You can claim whatever it is you want to be, the world doesn't necessarily have to be like, I accept what you claim yourself as.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so, unfortunately, the world just sees you at face value and makes assumptions. That's just how the world works. So Tiger cannot claim whatever he wants, but the minute he hops on screen and the TV cameras are on him, the first thing that pops in many people's eyes when they see that brown skin is he is this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you're saying it's the same thing with Spider-Man Miles Morales?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales, but they didn't really acknowledge it. Well, no, they did do a really good job.
Yeah, he was speaking Spanish in the movie.
Yeah,
or whatever it is. So he's the only. All I was trying to get to with him is he's the only mixed race superhero I can think of.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah, because one of my things was
I think Moon Knight is mixed.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, is he?
But in talking to what's her name? Tran? What's her name?
Yeah.
That's her name, right? She's one of the executive producers of Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. And when I spoke to her, I was like, "Are we going to get any, half Asian superheroes or anything like that?" She's like, "Hey, it's a big wide world. Anything's possible."
Yeah, anything's possible.
But we don't have we don't have a lot of mixed race people, and so we are quite the minority, though. So people that look like ACHARA and myself, it's like there's not a lot of us.
Well, we get cast as Asians.
Racially ambiguous.
Yeah.
Ethnically ambiguous. Ethnically ambiguous.
Ethnically ambiguous. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, I think there's room for it. I mean, one of the interesting things still is one of the daring things that the second Matrix did is when they actually showed you Zion, and it's just a hodgepodge.
Right.
A lot of people didn't know what to feel about that, though. That's the funniest thing, because black people are confused. They're like, why are they all black? What's up with that?
But then some of them look Latinos, some of them look black, some of them look like you just didn't know. And I'm glad that they didn't specify either. This is just the look.
This is the world.
You can identify with whatever it is you want in it, but this is just a brown world, and maybe you can find something that represents your level of brownness.
Right. And most of the main characters are white, but what are you gonna do? Shanu Sat Ya Volu. He dropped in 2 supers. And his second one, he actually asked a question: did you think the scene with the 3 Spider-Men and the 3 villains in the end was underwhelming because of the trailer and scrutiny it got? Wait, what?
No, I wasn't underwhelmed by that.
I was happy.
Yeah. It was kind of, because you kind of called it out, I think, in one of the reactions we did, where you were like, I don't know, it feels like there should be 2 more Spider-Men in this shot, but they've been...
no, that wasn't me. That was Eric Voss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But
fine.
yeah.
I thought you said something about that, maybe privately before we watched it. But anyway, so even though we kind of had an inkling that the stuff would happen and that we thought that there would be 3 Spider-Men and they were trying to keep it under wraps and not doing a very good job at it, I still felt very satisfied when I saw those moments on the big screen. It was just like, yes! So
there was a mock-up somewhere done by a fan of that shot with the 3 Spider-Men going towards Sandman, Electro, and
who was it? Lizard?
Then the Lizard. And one of the Spider-Men kicking Lizard in the face. What's amazing is in the movie, it looks so similar to the fan mock-up.
Right.
It was amazing. Like the kick and everything was the same. It was the weirdest thing. But anyway, we have a couple more supers here. Abhishek Mahandi. Doctor Strange's spell made MJ and Ned leads forget that Peter studied with them. What the fuck?
I know. So many questions about that spell. It's like, what are the parameters?
You can imagine how that conversation would go. Who was that guy we were studying? Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't there a kid in this class? Like, weird. Yeah. Like, there's a big black hole.
Aditya Vig says Jaby's face when ACHARA gave him credit was pure gold. But I acknowledge where it actually came from. Isha Srivastava. I wish they had given more importance to Tobey Maguire putting a Spider-Man suit in No Way Home. They did. There was a whole thing where, they.
Are you gonna? Are you gonna go out looking like a cool youth pastor?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and Tobey Maguire pulls his shirt and you see the Spider-Man outfit. Like everyone in the theater lost their shit.
They were cheering like crazy.
Yeah. It's amazing how those little things. Okay, so I wondered if we would have appreciated this movie anywhere near as much as we did if we knew in advance that they were in the film.
Well, we did kind of know, didn't we?
But we didn't get confirmation until we got there.
I don't know if it would have changed much.
No?
No.
Okay.
Nah, I don't think so. You think so? You think?
Well, there's this anxiousness to know. I mean, the movie is the third highest grossing film opening weekend of all time.
Is it only the third? I guess it might still
That's
be
tremendous.
affected by COVID.
In a
yeah.
time of pandemic,
yeah.
that's insane.
That is insane.
That's tremendous. I mean, not only pandemic, but it's the third highest grossing opening weekend of all time. That's a tremendous record to hold, right? And so I would just wonder how much of that is informed by, are they in the movie or not? We got to go find out.
Yeah.
I want to be the first. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and also the spoiler effect too, whereas like a lot of movies you can just casually see within a good week so amount of time and not just be absolutely bombarded by spoilers. I think a lot of people were just trying to beat the spoiler rush.
Right, yeah.
Let me see it as pure as I can before,
Thank you, Billy
Rick
Hader.
at the roller cooler absolutely messes it up for everybody.
Billy Hader keeps shouting out that I'm handsome. Thank you. Appreciate the compliment. What's his name? Ashashimashine. That was terrible how he's read it. Ashashimation.
Yeah, there
hey
you go.
guys, how excited are you for Spider-Man India in the Spider-Verse? I was super happy when I saw that. I was like, because the thing I felt ashamed that I didn't catch any of those
Yeah,
clues.
me too.
In the viewing of the trailer. So I'm excited for it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, the Spider-Verse, man. I mean, every version that we can possibly get, bring it in.
Yeah. I can't wait. I love that movie, and I can't wait for the second one.
Rage Gamer 15 in the chat says, "Do you think the death of Uncle Ben Aunt May is an absolute point in time?"
I've said this.
ACHARA has...
I said it was a nexus point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, made a mistake with the terminology, but yeah, absolutely. I think it's an absolute point. Like, I feel like that is so important to the formation of the Spider-Man's personality. And his story is that someone very close to him, a family member, dies. So
Parthib Basu. Thank you for your super. He says Tiger Shroff is in talks with Marvel for a project. That's great.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see him as a Marvel superhero.
I think he's a perfectly. I bet they saw what I had to say.
I bet
They're
they
like,
were.
who is this Tiger Shroff Jaby Koay's talking about?
Jaby Koay's been championing him for ever. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Prince Mondal. What musical theme motifs do you guys notice from older movies? I didn't pick up on any of them, to be honest with you. I had to watch the new Rockstars breakdown to get informed. I had no idea that they were even using themes from older films. Apparently they used the themes from the older Spider-Man movies and from the Doctor Strange film. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Some Danny Elfman from the original one?
Yeah, Danny Elfman.
Really?
Yeah.
Normally you could pick him up immediately. He's got such a very unique sound, and I didn't pick that up. Wow, okay.
It's subtle.
All right, I'll definitely check for that.
Subtle.
Yeah.
Nits. Thank you for your super. Can you imagine Tiger Shroff playing Spider-Man? I think he'd be dope. I think he'd be an excellent Spider-Man. He's got the balletic,
agility.
He's got the balletic and martial arts movement to do it.
Yeah.
I think he'd be dope. I'm rooting for him to be Spider-Man for sure. If they do an Indian live action Spider-Man of any kind, he should do it. What do you guys think about Gwen Stacy returned as Spider-Woman in one of the universes?
Sure.
I think it's going to happen.
Why not?
I think it's happened. We're going to get a live action version of her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. That's too much money on the table. And then to mirror kind of like what Marvel is doing, because there is a very the new era of the heroes coming in is very feminine. It's just a lot of women that's coming in.
A lot.
I wouldn't say it's feminine, but it is female.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't have my
Dictionary?
social police hat on right now.
No. Because what I'm saying is when they
there's a lot of women in it.
Yeah, when they bring in these girls, they're not acting feminine by any stretch. Like, they're acting kind of like dudes.
Well, I think
Fine.
they're just
there's women. I don't even know if that's even socially correct. I'm so lost on that. Anyways, in the Spider-Verse, if they're going to go that route as well, to include more women into the universe, which I think they should. Yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer to go live action with Gwen Stacy. I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, is my lexicon jacked up? I was like, there's a difference between saying female and feminine, right?
Yes, there is. But I think also you're like actually,
no,
I'm
correct
not
me.
gonna fall down this rabbit
Correct
hole
me.
of like, no, because you're saying basically that being strong or fighting or whatever
It's
is like
masculine.
a masculine thing, but it's not necessarily.
Okay,
There've
whatever
been
we've
plenty of
associated,
female warriors.
whatever we've associated with
What's traditionally masculine?
what is traditionally
Sure.
masculine versus feminine, like what I grew up with.
Sure.
I got to unpack that shit. I'm sorry, but like what I've grown up with is that masculine refers to strong, feminine refers to not so strong.
Yeah, you're not so strong to push a baby out of your vagina. Like that's not strong at all.
Hey, try
Yeah.
try pushing a kidney stone out of your pee hole.
Pee hole. What is strength anyway?
Why are y'all tripping all the time? Like physically tripping.
You try walking in high heels.
Y'all have no
Jesus.
coordination. You're like a bunch of babies walking around. So anyway, Adi. Sorry, off topic, but Achara, did you get to catch the Wheel of Time in Witcher Season 2?
You know what? I started watching the Wheel of Time a little bit, and then I had to do something else, and I haven't been able to come back to it. We did start watching Witcher Season 2, and we're going to start putting out the
spoilers!
reactions
Don't you dare
from
spoil.
tomorrow. No, we've only watched one episode so far, but we're going to
Okay.
catch up a little
Love
bit
The
more
Witcher.
today. You love The Witcher too? I love The
love The
Witcher.
Witcher.
This guy, I'm trying to like get on board.
What? You don't like The Witcher?
It's all right.
I'll choke you.
It's all right.
It's fun.
The first episode of Season 2, I enjoyed. I'll say that much. Because I put it right out there as the curmudgeon with that show that I am. I'm like, I'm okay on this. I didn't really need to watch this, but Achara needed someone to watch it with. I didn't know
Come
you were.
on, let's watch it.
I didn't know you were a huge fan. Otherwise, I would have set you guys up to watch it. Anyway.
Oh, my God.
Virat Kohli. Jaby and Achara. Thank you for your super Virat Kohli. Jaby and Achara kindly react to India's Harnas Sandhu winning. We tried to do that.
It got blocked.
Kindly Google it
I need
now
to put it
and
up on
rate her
Patreon.
beauty and also react to the video.
She's
we tried
beautiful.
to. It got
She's beautiful.
straight up blocked. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about Spider-Man, but yeah, it got blocked. We tried to, and you know, it is what it is. What can
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I got so mad because I'm like, here's this beauty pageant thing for Miss Universe. We tried to put up a reaction, got blocked for like 20 seconds of video.
Yeah.
All we want to show is our response to it, right?
Yeah.
And that will never see the light of day except for on Patreon. But a Spider-Man spoiler from the film, that's all over YouTube.
A clip from the movie. Like,
Yeah.
come on, Sony. Who's on your like copyright team? I mean, maybe it's hard because they're low quality, like shaky.
Oh no, you can see what the
whatever.
fuck is going on. Like you can make out that that's Tobey Maguire.
They should have hired some
Yeah.
people to just go through and copyright strike all of those people.
Yeah, what can you do? Chintan Patel. When are you guys putting out Boy Season 2 reaction? We haven't shot it yet.
We have to catch up on that too. Lots of shows to watch.
Oh, so we finished Boy Season 1. This is off topic. We finished Boy Season 1. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed season 1.
I am really surprised.
Yeah.
He liked it a lot.
Yeah.
That
It's
you
a great
enjoyed
show.
it as much as you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Abhishek Mohanty, thank you for your super. Hawkeye is set after Spider-Man No Way Home, so why is no one acknowledging the multiverse? They are still stuck with Thanos and Battle of New York.
Huh.
What?
That's true, huh? I always get really mixed up with the timelines when I'm watching this stuff. I'm like, I don't even pay attention to that because it just kind of does my head in.
Well, Hawkeye's a prequel, right? It takes place before Avengers, the first Avengers film.
No.
Don't lie to me. That's not right. Okay?
No, that's
I'm
not right
not
at all.
I'm not that stupid. Oh my god.
You know why I'm glad they're not acknowledging it? Because one of the things I really loved about the Netflix series is that it was street level hero work.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, it was like, so you didn't really have to get into the phantasmical and the mystical and all that until they did Iron Fist,
Which we
and then
don't
they
talk
kinda
about.
Touched on it a little bit. We don't discuss Iron Fist.
Yes.
But generally speaking, with Jessica Jones and
Yeah.
and Daredevil and Punisher, it's street level stuff.
Luke
And
Cage.
so it knows its lane.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I personally think Hawkeye is one of the best Disney Plus series out of all of them, I think it's probably the best one so far, is because it's in a safe space where I don't have to like turn my brain off and deal with wizards and magicians and dimensional breaking and all that. I just get a good superhero on
Yeah.
street level stuff, dealing with street level things. It's simple and
Yeah.
it gets to the point.
Yeah.
So
It's a great
I'm
show.
all for that. Please, more
Yeah.
of that. Yeah, it's awesome. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with Hawkeye.
So, what's this? Parthib Basu. Spider-Man and swing around the Christmas tree, which is the same in Hawkeye. That means Hawkeye is set up after Spider-Man Far From Home. What?
Yeah. Far from what? NFH. Yeah.
I don't know.
No Way Home. No Way Home.
No.
No Way Far From Home.
No, the god of symbiotes says, "What are your thoughts on the teaser of Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness?" I would say black people didn't like it. Everyone else did.
Why?
Because it wasn't Miles.
Because it wasn't Miles.
Oh.
I'm basing this on I'm basing this on 2 data points, mind you.
No, I liked it. I did like it.
I was so happy when I saw it. I was like, "Oh, this is this is a teaser." Like when the building's jutting out. It was at the Chrysler Building. I don't know what building that was. The Empire State?
I don't know.
Or just some other random building. But like when Doctor Strange is walking around in this like other dimension, whatever this place is, this in this other universe, I was just loving it. And just seeing the set pieces and whatnot, and the evil Doctor Strange when he showed up with that smile, I'm like, oh my god!
Yeah.
I was so happy.
I was happy for Wanda.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, Scarlet Witch, bring it. Love it. Yes.
And it's the perfect place to see her madness unfurl. It's a safe space for the ridiculous. So
I love that. A safe space for the ridiculous. Yeah, I can't wait.
And Wanda can absolutely just ape out, and I want to see her do exactly that.
I think Hawkeye's actually set up before No Way Home.
Are you sure?
I don't know for sure, but I think it was supposed to take place before No Way Home.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know. You
Who
better
cares?
shut your mouth.
I don't really.
Don't
you
say
know,
things you don't know about definitively.
I stopped caring about that. I had to stop caring about that a long time ago because it just doesn't make any sense when you don't have like other people showing up in these like epic end of the world stories.
Right.
You know, like in Thor the Dark World, how come no one else showed up to help? In Iron Man 3, how come no one else showed up to help out? It just doesn't make any sense. You have these films with like this huge what do you call it? A wide membership of superheroes.
Yeah,
right? And no one's helping out? Like, no one's even just checking in, like, hey, just,
Hey, what's up? Like, I saw some weird stuff going on downtown. Like,
right.
do you need a hand?
Exactly.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Spider-Man has this whole thing where he's broadcasting through J. Jonah Jameson going, I'm going to be at the Statue of Liberty, bitches. And no other superheroes are like, I heard you needed help.
Yeah, that's very true. In New York, of all places,
exactly,
it's like superhero haven.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't
even Jessica Jones could have showed up?
Why didn't they properly established Daredevil in the movie, and he doesn't show up to help out?
That's a big one, man.
Oh,
wow,
that's right.
So
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
You've established that he's there, and he's nowhere else to be found. He's like, I don't do that spider stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you got this right. The Daredevil's like, Spider-Man works alone, I work alone.
He just needed some, a couple more moments where he's just catching shit going, I'm just a good lawyer. I'm just a good lawyer.
Super good lawyer. Yeah. Excellent lawyer.
Catch
shit.
That's a really good point, Jaby. That's the winner of the day for me.
Catching bricks.
How you gonna bring him in? He doesn't even do nothing.
Exactly. Catching bricks and solving cases. Let's see. Nits. Who was your favorite actor who played Spider-Man? Andrew Garfield. Easily. Andrew Garfield's my favorite Spider-Man. Like, hands down. He just makes me happy. Every time I see him. I know that you complained earlier about him being 30 playing. I don't care, man. I just like his personality so much.
Super old, man.
I just like his personality.
Toby always has a spot in my heart just because he's the OG, man. Toby's just the OG.
I know. I can't. I feel like it's like asking who's your favorite child. I don't know. I loved Andrew Garfield. I love Tobey, like, for the same reason as you said, just because, nostalgia.
Yeah.
You said who's my favorite child. I'm just saying a random name.
No,
Sorry.
I don't have any children named Jacob. I don't have any children at all. I love Tom Holland as well.
Mahesh Sharma says, I want to see a love story between Spider-Gwen and Andrew. Oh, I never properly told that story.
We're gonna get
Hold
that.
up. I never properly told you that story of when I was on the set of Spider-Man. The first one, right?
Okay. No.
I haven't told it to you yet. All right, I'm going to tell it to you now. So, I don't know if this is going to be underwhelming at all. I'll try my best to... I'll keep it short because I don't want it to be underwhelming for anybody. So what happened was when I was in high school, I was dating a girl who was in the Zoo Magnet program. Because in high school, you had the regulars like myself, the normies, and you had the highly gifted magnet and the Zoo Magnet. Zoo Magnet was focused on people who had an interest in zoology, marine biology, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And the girlfriend I had at the time, she was into that stuff, so she was in the Zoo Magnet program. And her teacher somehow had some kind of connection with like Central Casting or something, and they needed extras for Spider-Man the movie, directed by the very first one was directed by Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire, and I was like, I want to go to that, and so she brought me along, and I'm in the bleachers. You can't see me, but I'm in the bleachers like cheering for the fighting and whatnot, and it was just like being an extra is like the most boring thing in the world, dude. It's so boring. Like even on something as exciting as Spider-Man, but like I remember them shooting the stuff with like Spider-Man coming out in his costume and whatnot for that scene. But there was this. I got to meet Sam Raimi, who was quite nice. Shook my hand, and we chatted for a bit. But the moment that stands out for me was I had this thing I used to do when I was a kid, where I'd walk up to people. And I would just like kick behind their head, like right by their head, and they'd feel like this wind, and they'd look, and I'm already like standing to the side, like Naruto or like a ninja or something, right?
Yeah.
And it was something I would do all the time. And so Randy Savage is getting sprayed down, and he's making this big show of getting sprayed down with water. He's making all this noise and shit. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna show this guy what's up. And so I walk by him.
Tell me you didn't.
I walk by him and I throw my foot behind his head. And then I just keep on walking. But he knew I did something. So he calls me back over and he goes, "Don't fuck around, kid." And I just chuckle it off. And I just laugh. He goes, "No, I'm serious. Don't fuck around." I'm like, all right, man, whatever. I think I know everything, and I walk away.
I'm surprised you didn't get thrown off set.
I'm surprised you didn't get your face pummeled by the Macho Man. That's that's what he does for a living, is take little people like you.
I'm not little. I think I was. I think I was the same height or taller than him, but because he's actually not that tall of a guy. But he wasn't. He's dead now.
Nowhere extra.
Yeah. But yeah. So that was my Randy Savage moment. Him telling me not to fuck around.
Why would you provoke Randy Savage? Why? Why would you do that?
Because I was a kid. Why? I was like that dude. I was like 16 years old. I didn't know.
Jaby likes to provoke people. We nearly got into a fight at the movie theater.
I was that confident in my ability to almost kick him in the head, but not.
You're crazy.
Yeah. So anyway,
you are absolutely crazy. It's like I'm gonna walk up on Tyson and just flinch. Yeah. Like why? Why?
And so
this doesn't solve anything for anybody.
I remember telling that story to my best friend at the time, and he's like, because I was like telling the story all proud, not knowing that it was dumb, and he goes, "Yeah, he was right, Jaby. Like you shouldn't have done that. You could get in big trouble." And so that's when I knew. I learned my lesson later, like. Not to mess around on set, but like at the time, yes, I learned. Things have changed. Things have changed. But like, but it's like, it's a story to tell.
Sure.
So,
yeah, interesting story.
My foot went right by Randy Savage's head. So.
And you didn't die.
Traction. Yeah.
There was this like contest they were holding on set that day too. They're like, if you can do like, show us like a trick of yours that you can do, we'll give you a free prize. And they told me, the MC told me, because I told him I had a martial arts trick I could do. And he told me I could use the ring. I'm like, all right, cool, that's plenty of space. But then when he called me up, they were setting up a shot in the ring. And so he wouldn't let me use the ring anymore. Because they had like this whole camera arm, like the dolly arm, whatever it's called, a crane, inside the ring of and I'm like, what? He didn't want to put me up there because it was too dangerous. It was a liability, right?
Yeah.
It's a live set. Yeah. And so he wanted me to do it in the space between the ring and the audience, which is like no space at all. And it's like no one can really see me from there. So I tried my best to throw a 540 in that little tiny space that I had. I landed it and everything, but people didn't know what the fuck it was. So I got, and so, like when you can't see it properly because it's because it wasn't in the ring, it's like people don't know what I did. And
yeah, it's
like,
not impressive at all.
Because people were ready for it and they're like, "What?" And I could feel the energy in the audience being like, "What did you do?" And so the guy's like, "All right, well, here's a CD anyway." I forgot what the CD was for. It wasn't for Spider-Man.
Oh, lame.
It wasn't anything good?
It was like
whatever it was very disposable.
Oh.
And so we have a super here. Let's see. Virat Kohli. Alia Bhatt is soon playing in a Marvel movie.
What? For real?
Can you look that up?
That's amazing.
Look up Tiger Shroff and Alia Bhatt.
Okay.
I don't believe you.
Why not?
Let's see. Abhilash V. What happens to people who know Peter Parker or Spider-Man in other universes? Clearly, villains were coming from different universes. Did Tobey Maguire Peter go to his MJ who doesn't know him as Spider-Man anymore? No, that's a good question. We don't think about that. That's called a plot hole.
I see something here about Alia Bhatt might audition for Marvel's Kamala Khan.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But, yeah.
I thought she was already cast. She hasn't already been cast?
Oh, has she? I don't know.
The adult version. The adult version. Just like you got, Smallville and then Henry Cavill or whatever.
Oh no, she has been cast. So this might be an old one. So she hasn't been not Alia Bhatt, but like the character's been cast. So maybe that's just a rumor. I don't know.
Who knows? Mm-hmm. If Matt Murdock is in this universe, then John Berthel's Punisher is too. I want him in the MCU where he is like a vigilante alongside Peter Parker or given by vibranium.
Yeah,
weapons.
yeah, I liked that show. It was fun.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And also Elektra.
He murders it as Punisher. He is the best Punisher. There are no other Punishers. Once you get to see him,
he had to grow. He had to grow on me. It took time.
Well, it's just because you don't really like John Bernthal.
No, I like him now.
Yeah.
Initially, I didn't.
At the time, you didn't.
Initially, I just thought it was if you go back and watch him in Daredevil season 2, he's always looking off at something. I'm like, what are you looking at, dude? No one's there. Like. Every scene he does, even if they're in a room with no windows, he's looking away. And that's just part of his style of acting.
Yeah.
He's always looking away for
no
some
eye
reason.
contact.
No eye contact, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's grown on me. I like him a lot now. It just took time. And I especially like him in his standalone show.
Yeah.
Anyway. YT God. Thank you for your super. I don't understand this. Tom Holland looks young, so only he can play Spider-Man. If anything, we follow adult Peter Parker more in the comics. I guess that's true.
He does look young. He looks younger than his 25 years, that's for sure.
He's 25?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot to put on a 25-year-old. $1 billion? Can you imagine? That's crazy to me. That still blows my mind. 25 years old, $1 billion on his back. Don't fuck this up. I hope they're paying him well. How are you guys excited? I think he means how excited are you guys to see Scarlet Witch saying the iconic dialogue from the comics, "No more mutants," and also leading X-Men into the MCU?
I don't know that line. I haven't read the comics, but I love the X-Men, and so I would love more X-Men. Love.
I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I have not ever loved Scarlet Witch. I've only liked her in relation to Vision. Like their relationship. WandaVision, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But like her on her own doesn't necessarily excite me.
Well, isn't her iteration as Scarlet Witch like this is new, right? Because she hasn't been Scarlet Witch really until the end of WandaVision. She's been,
I don't know what this means. Marvel Talks, Jaby, you are a chabby. Don't be a lammy. I don't know what that means, but it's hilarious. Charles Harkins.
Or maybe I'm wrong, actually.
Did you know Haley Steinfeld? It's okay. Did you know Haley Steinfeld was half Filipino and half African American, making her first female of color to lead? She's half Filipino?
Really?
Half African American, making her. So she's just black, according to SYNTEL.
Yeah.
Making her the first female of
not
color.
My law. I didn't make the rule.
To me, the funniest thing is Haley Steinfeld looks white to me.
She does, yeah.
She does.
She's just.
Yeah, but I did know the Filipino side. I didn't know the black part. I did know the Filipino.
Oh yeah,
Philippine.
it does.
You know what's funny? It's like because if she's half Filipino, have you?
No, she's a quarter African American. Her maternal grandfather is half Filipino and half African American, which makes her a quarter of each, or an eighth. I don't do math. Bad Asian.
Well, all I know is according to the the 8-drop rule in America, in Western culture America, that means you's a Negro.
Yeah, that makes you an octoroon. So yeah.
Welcome to the club. There's discrimination in the back.
She's more black than Elizabeth Warren's Indian or Native American.
There you go.
Regardless of whatever her ethnicity is, she's dope.
She is. She's amazing.
Yeah, I like her.
She's killing it.
She's like in all the things. She's Vi in Arcane, killed it. Gwen Stacy in Into the Spider-Verse, nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Kate Bishop in Hawkeye series, amazing.
Still nailing it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love
she should
her.
be next up. Like whatever whatever it is that she finally firmly decides that this is where I'm going to plant my flag into this superhero world, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
She's won me over.
Mickey Singh says there's another flaw in the post-credits in the end when Doctor Strange did the magic and everyone is moving to their respective universe. How come a part of Venom stayed there? Not logical. Because he's a symbiote and there's something.
Something. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Because it's not. I don't know. You just broke my brain a little bit. I don't know. I don't care. It was cool seeing the little Venom thing go. That was kind of fun. You know, it was like the spinning top moment at the end of Inception. It's just a little thing, just to get you excited. Do you remember watching Inception in theaters? Do you remember that feeling of when the top was wobbling, and then it cuts to black? Mm-hmm. I just remember this collective. Oh!
Yeah, because it's that shot. They hold that shot for a while. They milk it.
Yeah.
You're just here just watching it, and you're like,
Yeah.
no! How dare you send me home unfinished?
Marvel Talks is just coming up with weird shit to say. Jaby, you are a crampy. Don't be a King Panapi. Just saying random shit now.
Shubham Pawar says Olsen said that Raimi aims to make the scariest MCU movie yet in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's a very scary movie. It's old Sam Raimi. They're trying to create the scariest Marvel movie. So there's that.
It's definitely old Sam Raimi because he's old.
That Morbius one looks like it could be really dark.
I mean,
even though that's not, I don't know if that's MCU though. I think that's just Spider-Verse.
That's just
right?
Spider-Verse,
No,
I think.
Morbius looks pretty dark. I mean,
62 years old.
But I'm here for Sam Raimi.
He's not that old.
I'm excited for Morbius, but also because I like vampires. I'm very, very excited for Blade. Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if Ted Raimi is going to be in the new Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, is he in every single Sam Raimi movie?
He's in most of what Sam Raimi does. Do you know who Ted Raimi is?
I'm assuming it's his brother.
It's his brother who has been in a bunch of Xena episodes. But Ted Raimi made an appearance in the first Spider-Man film, I believe, and the third one. He shows up a lot. He shows up quite a bit, and so it wouldn't surprise me in the least if he. Let me just look up the IMDb. Hold on. Nits. Thank you for your super, Jaby. What do you call Spider-Man after he lost his powers, but he still jumps from building to building? Peter Parkour.
That's cute.
That's Peter
cute.
Parkour
That's
now.
cute. He is.
Let me see. I got my IMDb somewhere here, don't I? Oh, yes, I do.
Have you heard Tom Holland's complaints about how difficult it was to do Uncharted? Because he was so CG'd and had so many stuntmen do all of the heavy lifting for him in Spider-Man that when he did Uncharted, they was like, nah, bro, you got to do that. And he's like, wait a minute, I don't really do these stunts. I heard they kicked his ass in Uncharted, which is even another reason why I want to see not much more.
Well, I heard that I heard that Tom Holland was quite talented physically, though.
He is, yeah. He was a
Look at him.
He was a gymnast and everything, and a dancer. I think his claim to fame originally was the stage production of Billy Elliot. Like that boy can move. Have you seen him do? What was it on that lip sync show where he did the dance to Rihanna's Umbrella?
Yes,
amazing.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Amazing. One of the best things I've seen.
He did that T-shirt challenge, which was pretty dope. He had to do a handstand and take his shirt off in a handstand or something like that. No, put his shirt on.
Put his shirt back on while in a handstand.
While he was doing a handstand. I was like, wow, that's really impressive, dude. You might be Spider-Man for real.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that in order to qualify as a black movie star these days, your name has to be so difficult to say?
Oh.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. I've never felt confident saying his name.
Well, yeah,
and
but he's
because he's probably from the continent of Africa.
And then
he's British, but yeah, like African descent.
Of African descent.
Yeah.
What's the name of the guy from The Kingsmen?
Which
the guy? He was also in Constantine. And he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yes.
Jaimon Jansu or something like
Jaimon
that.
Jaimon Hudson.
Every like all of these names always make I get like this weird feeling in my stomach when I say the name out loud because I'm like, I know I'm fucking this up.
I know, but all you have to do is listen to it once, like being said in an interview properly. Like, I really like Chiwetel Ejiofor's name. I think it's like it has a nice.
What about the guy from The Matrix?
It kind of rolls off your tongue.
Also from Watchmen.
Oh, Abdul Yahya Mateen II.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
It's just like any name from a culture that you're not familiar with is gonna sound odd.
Yeah, like ACHARA. Come on now.
No, I think the names. I don't think the names sound odd at all. I think they sound dope.
They sound dope.
I just get nervous saying them out loud. You know what I mean? Because I don't.
Your tongue isn't used to saying it. How about that?
Yeah.
You're gonna get a little tongue tied.
Yeah,
well, it's like Zach Galifianakis. That was a mouthful.
That was always my argument was him. I'm like, so you can't say a Chiwetel, but you can say Zach Galifianakis and just have no problems.
I've been messing up his name.
You just don't want to know how to say it. It's a choice.
I've been messing up. I've been messing up Zach Galifianakis' name for years. Like
it's Galifianakis.
See, I just did it. I always mess up his name every single time. But it's the guy play. So people are gonna get mad at me for showing the IMDb for Matrix.
Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Yeah, Yahya Abdul Mateen II. Okay, so.
Who might be next up? That dude is killing the game right now.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Sharon
Baharwani says, in WandaVision, Agatha says Wanda is stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. Now I figured she meant Wong and not Strange.
Well, Eric Voss reckons the other way. But yeah, you're right. She could have been talking about Wong and not Doctor Strange.
Well, I mean, she's a, what is it called? An Omega level villain.
She's super powerful.
So her being more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme should be a given. I mean, there's only a few people that are on that level. It's only like a handful.
Dark Strange.
Anukriti says Chadwick Boseman sounded like a British. No, he didn't to me. But that's an easier name to say. Now he's not here anymore.
So how are you supposed?
One name I felt confident in saying.
Anand Sridhar says they still say Kamala wrong. Even she says it wrong. Raffle.
How are you supposed to say her name?
How are you supposed to say it? Can you give us like a phonetic
However she says it. However she says.
I thought it was Kamala.
However she says her name is how her name is supposed to be said. That's how I take it.
Right, but like, how are you supposed to say it for other people who have the same name and don't say it that way?
I don't know.
Hey, was I the only one to get back on Spider Talk for a second? Was I the only one that thought it was a little weird that there's no Oscorp, right, in this world?
No, there isn't. Yeah.
So when he came back and he was like, I went home, Norman Osborn came back, he's like, I went home and somebody was already at my home. I didn't even recognize who it was. I thought it was, I don't know, I just thought that there was somehow like the glider was going to be connected to an Oscorp in this world, and there just isn't. So, but there is another Norman Osborn, right? There's always like another version of yourself within these universes. That's what I always assumed. They just may not necessarily be doing the same thing.
That's not necessarily true.
That's not necessarily true?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they showed that MJ's name was different. Like it's not Mary Jane or whatever. It's
Michelle Jones Watson.
Jones, yeah. So with something as small as that being different,
or his version of himself maybe doesn't live in that house.
Sure.
Perhaps.
Okay. But Oscorp is a really big thing. That's a really big part of the Spider-Man verse.
So I was watching.
I
was watching some YouTube video the other day talking about the multiverse and how there's this notion of like the question has been posed: is the universe like Earth, like it's round and that's it, or is it flat and goes on forever? And what has been established so far, or what has been understood so far, is that it's flat, like a paper. And so it goes on forever. And with that in mind, everything possible exists. Like, and the person who was narrating the YouTube video was like, think about that for a second. Everything possible exists. And so I'm watching Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm like, does that mean that there's a version of the universe out there where this is real? Where you have sorcerers and wizards and people with spider powers and stuff like that? Is there like an X-Men universe out there that actually exists? For some reason, that kind of blew my mind for a second. I'm just watching like the third viewing. Like your thoughts trail sometimes, you know. But anyway,
well,
go ahead.
No, it just goes back to that whole saying about how powerful thoughts are. Like if you can imagine it, it can be. but it may not be necessarily in your universe. Maybe it is in those other variations of universes. In
Jaby
some other universe,
with a
you're
harem.
the president of the United States somewhere. In some variation of the multiverse, you're president.
You didn't hear what I said, right?
No, what you just said.
I said Jaby with a harem. Bunch of hotties. Yes, I am a nerd. Who do you think should direct the next MCU Spidey trilogy? I think they should bring back Mark Webb from ASM series, Amazing Spider-Man series. Say what you want about the writing, but both those movies were shot brilliantly.
You know, it's interesting because
I think they should have Tarantino do the next Spider-Man trilogy. A bunch of foot shots.
Yeah, why not? Let's have those. No, because your brother was saying that he thought that the a lot of the cinematic elements from Amazing Spider-Man were much better than this one, because he said that, you know, in the Amazing Spider-Man ones, you kind of got the sense that you were really swinging with him, and it was done very dynamically and interestingly. So yeah, I could see why, you know, Mark Webb might be a good choice to bring back. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Abhishek Mahandi. Someone is in Norman's home is a reference to Sam Raimi's films. In that film, goblins laugh and scream occurs in the house as well.
Oh, nice callback.
Okay.
Nits. Try pronouncing Indian names. Sayamantari. Samayantari. Hold on, I got that wrong, didn't I? Samayantari. Samayamantari. Venkata Raghava Naga Sai Shankara Subramanya Lakshmi Krishna Vivek.
Yes, and apparently
that's a lot easier than Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
Apparently the pronunciation is Kamla.
Is Kamala?
Kamla. No middle syllable.
Oh, because that's an Indian name.
Yeah. It's
but
two syllables.
She says it.
It's Kamla.
You know, the way we say SYNTELL is not how it's natively said.
Yeah, it's said differently.
Sure.
Rage Gamer 15 says David Fincher should direct the next Spider-Man. I would love to see. I know he would never do it, but I would love to see.
Oh my God, it'll be so much talking.
Well, I guess it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibilities because he did do Dark Knight. But I would love to see Nolan do an MCU movie. That would be interesting. You know.
He just signed a contract with Warner Brothers, though, right? Didn't he?
Did he?
No, he jumped out of the Warner Brothers.
No,
contract. That's
yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
He left.
He
the
left
Warner Brothers
after
So
a
anything is
long
possible.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for Fantastic Four now. John Watts will be directing it. What do you guys think? It's cool.
I mean, I just wait to see what the trailers look like, and then I'm like, okay, I'll decide then. Yeah, I'm just giving
I
myself
just
a
want a
little
good
massage.
one.
Yeah.
It's a shame that they can't nail that one because the characters are just so interesting.
You know what I thought about? Arcane is the first video game based thing, entertainment thing that I've watched that I actually really, really, really enjoyed besides Mortal Kombat, the first one.
I think the first one I liked was Silent Hill. The original Silent Hill was really good.
That was all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I can acknowledge that Silent Hill was a well-made film. I just didn't.
Yeah.
It's not something I wanted to go back to. I just felt uncomfortable watching it, and I'm like, okay, well, that happened, and we're gonna move on. Sean Bean always dies.
And we're done.
Oh, did he die in that one? I'm pretty sure Sean Bean died in that one, right?
Sean Bean always does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean Bean, always dead.
But in Jupiter Ascending, did he die?
I don't know. I didn't watch that movie.
He became B-Man in Jupiter Ascending.
I barely remember Jupiter Ascending.
I know you hated it.
Yeah.
If you guys have any more questions about Spider-Man, if you don't have any more, we'll probably conclude the stream here. But if you want to hit us with any more, we can answer your questions. Nits. Donald Trump. Vive Kamundan. Remember.
Yes. Vive.
That's one of my favorite
Vive
videos.
Kamundan. I love that video. It's so funny.
I'll send it to you, SYNTELL, after we're done
I
here.
saw it. I remember.
China.
Wait, I have
Filthy,
to
filthy,
sneeze.
filthy. I love that video so much. It makes me so happy. That Silent Hill callback was insane. The game was crazy. Daredevil, that's from Aditya Vig. Daredevil and No Way Home, do you think that they're going to team up? No. I don't think so. Not at all.
Nah. Nah, you gotta put a bigger name next to Spider-Man, and Daredevil's just not a bigger enough name.
But I think the
Sure.
whole point of the end of Spider-Man No Way Home is to establish that he's on his own now, so he can have a film that is free of the confines of Tony Stark and Avengers and all that stuff. Like he's back to being on his own to have like proper standalone Spider-Man films that don't have to tie into anything else necessarily. And he's moving to Boston or something, right?
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Only if he was getting into MIT with.
No, but he wasn't keeping an eye on MJ and all that. He's probably moving to Boston.
Yeah. He's gonna be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in Boston.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the OG original costume that he handmade himself at the end?
No one talked about that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I did too.
It was cute.
Yeah.
too.
I thought
It's kind of like, he's getting reset and it's starting again.
Yeah.
Where he's.
I thought it was interesting that he goes out into like -3-degree weather.
I know. I was like, dang, that's a lot of lycra.
I'm like
thin ass suit. I'm like, yo, it's cold, man.
Just flipping around and shit.
Keeps you warm.
Abhishek Mohanty, America Chavez, actress. How do you say that?
He says it. It says at the end, and we actually
Shoshi
had a
Gomez.
guest who came on with that name.
Oh, Shoshi Gomez from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is pronounced as Shoshi Gomez. Okay, that's a crazy name.
That is, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Super fun Mexican name, I
Thank you
think.
for challenging my name. Dashiell Milner, thank you for your super. Andrew said he was filled with rage and went down a dark path as Spider-Man. I would love to get more of that story. Wouldn't we all?
Yes.
Peter 3.
Well,
Wouldn't we all?
We did kind of. I mean, they hinted to that year-long hiatus as he's mourning.
Yeah.
As he's mourning Gwen's grave. So we just assumed. I think you're supposed to assume that that's that dark time that he's talking about because a year passes.
But we didn't see it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm saying.
You just saw him grieving.
We should see it. We should see him like unloading on people like Daredevil.
Right.
He said he stopped pulling his punches. I do want to see that. That would be kind of dope.
Yeah, something with a bit more edge. I don't think we've seen that kind of Spider-Man, like a very dark, edgy Spider-Man. They like that was supposed to be Spider-Man 3, and it just got goofy with all the dancing. That shit. So
I rewatched Spider-Man 3 and I didn't hate it. It's still not like very, very good.
Oh, have you become a Spider-Man 3 apologist?
It's not as horrible as I thought. Is that a thing now? There's a Spider-Man 3 apologist thing going on? Maybe I am then. It wasn't as bad as I remembered. I was like, this is actually entertaining.
You're the first. You know what? There's something I cut out of my review because it was a long video as it was, and I'm like, okay, this is a Jaby thing that no one ever really cares about except for someone like myself. But there's something I cut out of my review that I was curious about, and no one else has said anything about it, so I'm guessing it's just me that thought it. In the moments where Lizard gets cured and Sandman gets cured, did you notice that there's no dialogue from the villains at all? They're just looking at their hands. So it made me wonder if they were ever on set with these actors or if they were just green screened in. Like I don't know what the hell the production was like at all, but it was curious to me that Tobey's like, you're going to be all right, Sandman, or whatever he called him. And Sandman doesn't even respond. He's just looking at his hands. And then when Lizard turns back into a human, I forgot what was said to him, but he's just looking at his hands. I'm like, what the hell's going on? How come they're not saying shit? Anyway, I just thought that was
now send me back to my world where certain death awaits me.
Yeah, exactly. No, because it's entirely possible that something like that would happen. Like the reference I had made that also got cut from the video was that in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, there's a scene where Frodo Baggins and Sam Wise are talking to each other, right? And that scene was shot a year apart because they forgot to get the reverse of Sam Wise. It was one of those things where, like, they shot...
it's just Samwise.
What did I say?
The way you're saying it sounds so weird.
What am I saying?
Samwise.
Samwise.
It's just Samwise. Samwise Gamgee. Okay?
Right. Okay, so they forgot to get the reverse of Samwise. And, so like a year later, they had to go and pick that shot up. And they put it together in post, and you don't notice that it's shot a year apart. And that's movie magic. And so I wondered if things like that were happening here in No Way Home, where there was just a complete disconnect. It felt kind of like Sin City. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
Did you watch Sin City?
Of course. Yeah, Rodriguez.
Emotionally, something was missing in that movie for me, and I was like, it just doesn't feel like the actors are communicating with each other. It feels like I can see they're in the same room, but it doesn't feel like they're talking to each other. Come to find out, they were shot on completely different days. Yeah, they're in the frame together, but that's because it was comps like that. They were actually shot like weeks apart, and they were actually opposite of Robert Rodriguez each time. That was a very smart, low-budget movie, like when you think about it.
Here, Comic says, I think they used old clips for both Lizard and Sandman. Sandman clip was literally reversed from Collider.
Oh, that sense makes. I was wondering about that.
That's quite possible.
How'd you feel about Lizard talking? I hated it.
I hated
he was
it.
a pointless character from the word go,
Yeah.
so I was like, well, you're not bringing anything, so why do I care?
Yeah, exactly.
There was this moment where he says some stupid ass line. He goes, "That can't be his girlfriend. That's not his girlfriend," or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I hate that line every time I hear it. Every time I watch the film, I'm like, why did they?
So out of character.
Why did they have to say that at all?
Because they needed to give Lizard a line. They couldn't give all the funny quips to Electro.
He could.
I would have
just
bought that coming from Electro.
What
to be fair.
sounds? What sounds do lizards make? He didn't need to say anything.
It just hissed.
Yeah.
I could give you a real makeover.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, get out of here.
Shut up. Go away.
Jesus.
But didn't his whole thing, like in the Amazing Spider-Man, didn't it run out and he just naturally turned back to his old form? Like, when did that stop happening?
No, he didn't naturally turn back to his old form. I think Andrew Garfield saved him.
I don't remember, honestly.
He said he did in the movie.
Yeah, I know he did.
It's like Andrew Garfield's like super easy, barely an inconvenience. I got it.
Well, yeah,
it.
because they did the mist thing that mists
Yeah.
the whole city, and everybody turns back from being, a lizard back to normal people. But I'm just saying, but even before then, his lizard state went in and out. It wasn't always just it wasn't just a constant. He would turn lizard, then he would turn back normal, and then turn. I thought maybe not.
I don't know.
I'm probably wrong.
I don't.
Never mind, we'll keep
I
moving.
haven't. I didn't actually rewatch.
What I found fascinating though was when Tobey Maguire was about to be drowned by Sandman in the sand, he catches the thing and goes, "Brrr," and that whatever that device is only manipulates the molecules of Sandman and nobody else in that room. I just thought that was fascinating. I'm like, so it was just targeting Sandman and not going to affect Tobey Maguire's, molecular level, any of his cells at all.
They're that good.
Yeah.
They're super good scientists.
They came up with that in his school lab.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nishay's...
Go ahead.
I
was gonna say, with the exception of Electro, didn't everybody kind of have a turnaround anyways? Because Sandman kind of is just like, well, I'm sorry, and disappears and freed at the end of his.
Yeah.
Doc Ock was like, I don't want to be remembered as this, and takes the collider into the ocean or whatever it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So his character turns around. Lizard decides that he gives Peter his hand and helps him up on the skyscraper once he turns back human. So I feel like all of this stuff, like I'm going to turn these bad guys good, seems kind of redundant. Like they already get turned good in all of their own individual storylines. So why are we doing this?
I hadn't even thought about that, but now that you mention
Haven't
it,
you watched?
like,
Haven't you ever played Mega Man? The end of at the last level, you fight all the bad guys again. That's what this is. It's fucking fun.
Okay, all right, sure.
Nishay Zaini. The clip of Sandman and Lizard is reused from the previous movies. It's confirmed.
Okay. So yeah, you noticed it. You're like, that looks weird.
It just seemed odd. Something just felt weird. You go and watch Game of Death, and there are these scenes where Bruce Lee a better reference would be Furious 7, the last one with Paul Walker. There's a scene in an airplane where Vin Diesel is saying something to Paul Walker, and Paul Walker just smiles at him, and I'm like, that isn't the right response.
Wrong response.
It's just a weird way to respond to what Vin Diesel is saying. And you know why it's put together that way, It's like because the movie's like they're cobbling it together with whatever they can, with footage, with doubles and all that stuff, and so they only had what they had because he died. So it's just strange.
Aaron
Doctor
Christian's like,
Strange.
you guys are just overthinking and complaining about the movie. No, but I mean that's the whole point of these like spoiler discussions. Is like after you've watched the movie a few times, you're like, wait, hold on, I love the movie, but there were some holes.
Yeah.
There were some holes.
Yeah.
But it's okay, like we're just chatting.
As someone, SYNTELL, as someone who is not like into fight, who doesn't study fight scenes at the level that I do, right? I was curious about your feeling of the fight between Tom Holland and Green Goblin.
The end fight scene?
Yeah, the end fight. I thought it was an emotional fight scene. I mean, I don't know the technical.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you how you
parts of it that made it work. It felt emotionally charged. I thought that's what they were trying to go for. It didn't just seem like a regular fight. And then the sounds of them fighting on the shield, right? They were fighting on the Statue of Liberty shield. Yeah, it was intense. I believed it. I believed that he had every intent to kill this man.
Okay, I just was curious, like if you enjoyed it, because for me, like I started to see the technical stuff, and I'm like, yeah, this is. It's a little bit frustrating. So I just tried to invest myself in the emotional target of that scene more than the technical thing.
Right.
Because I was just gonna get mad. So yeah.
Right.
YJ Yogi says, what if you get the chance to interview any one Spider-Man, what would your first reaction be?
Losing my damn mind. I'd be like, I can't believe, oh my God, what are we gonna ask them?
They're just people.
I know. What did you have for breakfast?
Yes, I am a nerd. Thank you for your super, bro. Honestly speaking, as much as I love No Way Home, there were a lot, and I mean a lot of things that does not make sense. It was not MCU. Riots.
If it was not MCU.
Oh, if it was not MCU, riots.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things that don't make sense, but is it still a fun movie? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it's a fun movie.
I mean, I want to say like the first, what was it, Wednesday through Friday, the Rotten Tomato score was like a complete 100. And so I'm wondering how far it drops after we get a couple of weeks. I say it drops down to about a 95.
Which is still incredibly high.
It's still incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
What was the movie that dropped down like a whole bunch after it came out? It came out at the same time as Dune.
Eternals?
Oh yeah, it was Eternals. That's right.
Yeah,
Eternals was like 100%, and then it dropped down to like 40 or something like that. I don't know what it's at now. I haven't checked in a minute.
No, it was no, I remember it was the critic score was like
higher.
An 88.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an 88, but the user score, like the regular people score, it was like a 55 or something like that. Yeah,
Normies.
when it first came out.
Normies were like,
maybe it was the other way around.
Spider-Man dropped some more.
Like,
Spider-Man was at 98% yesterday. Now it's at 94%.
Okay,
still
it's
very
gonna continue
high.
to drop.
So give it another week, it'll be at 40% too.
No, never.
Well, because you got it. Because once the the chutzpah, the blah blah, whatever it is,
the razzle and dazzle.
The razzle dazzle wears off, and you're sitting there left with the core of story. You're gonna be like,
Oh, the audience score is high though for Eternals.
I don't know why.
Eternals. I know it was one of them. One of them, it was like a big discrepancy between the critic score and the user score, and then they both kind of switched as time went on.
I love
Once
this.
these films kind of settle on.
Clearly, we're supposed to leave the cinema filled with an urgent sense of anticipation, but all I felt was relief that the 2.5-hour running time had finally come to an end. But you know what?
It was that the regular score, like the critic score, was like a 40%, right? 48%, like you just showed. Yeah, that's what it was.
But with Spider-Man: No Way Home, you're supposed to leave with anticipation. I left with anticipation, straight up.
Yeah.
Like, I was very, very excited with what they showed us at the end. And the audience score is still 99%.
Yeah, it's very, very high.
So,
yeah.
What are people saying bad about it? While the previous Holland films have been mediocre in modest ways, No Way Home feels downright aggressive in its mediocrity.
Boo! Bilge, Ebiri, what do you know about things?
I mentioned to John Humphrey last night, I was like, if you think about the plot, it's actually very thin. Like, there's not a lot of story there.
True.
It's like 3 beats, and then it's
Nice.
the end of the movie. And he goes, yes, I recognize that, but what that allows is for us to just spend more time with banter and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I'm like, I guess that's true. I mean, it's pretty packed with characters.
And we love the characters.
Yeah.
So that's why we forgive it, because it's like, yeah, you know, we love all of them, whether it's the Spideys, whether it's MJ and Ned and everyone, even Flash Thompson, like whatever. But we like them. We want to hang out with them. It's fine.
Someone asked if we are excited for Moon Knight. I did not know what a Moon Knight was until recently.
Yeah.
It's Marvel's version of Batman. Just think of it like that.
Every time
Oh, so
do
he's
with
just like a
gadgets.
billionaire?
every time I
Rich
think of
dude with gadgets.
every time I think of
Schizophrenic.
well, every time I think
Oh.
of Moon Knight, I always think of Super Smash Brothers. Like there's a character.
Oh, I know you're talking about the little dude with the sword.
Yeah.
Cheat code. He's overpowered in Smash Brothers. Yeah. Yeah.
Moon something.
You know, one of my big problems I'm having with just superheroes in general, superhero movies in general, especially in Marvel films, is like everybody, and you really see it in the Spider-Man film. Why can't I just get just a full-blown, I'm a bad guy. And this is my space. Green Goblin was the only one out of all of them that was like, yo, this is what we do. We are gods and we should be treated as such. Everybody else has like this redemptive arc. And I just want a good old-fashioned bad guy. Can I just have a dude that just wants to watch the world burn?
Yeah.
I want Joker back again. I want those kind of like villains about. I don't want to read
because they feel
60 minutes of
the reason why
villain.
the reason why is because it ends up feeling flat sometimes. I mean, but this is who I thought the new Marvel movie was about. Meta Knight.
Oh, Meta Knight. That's that dude's name. Yeah, he's way OP in Smash Brothers.
But I mean, to what you're saying though, like, it just depends on how it's executed. Because the Joker's obviously an extremely memorable character.
Yes.
And he's done very, very well. But I think you run the risk of a character just having no depth and being kind of flat and boring.
Yeah.
Because, but that being said, even in Amazing Spider-Man 2, they spent a considerable amount of time with Jamie Foxx, and he still felt flat. So I'm like, I don't know. It just depends.
It's like, really, you're upset that people didn't pay attention to you and didn't know that you existed, so now you're going to electrocute this. I don't understand.
I don't know why he didn't become an eel.
They noticed me, and so I'm going to murder everybody in Times Square.
Doesn't that defeat the purpose?
How come he didn't become an eel, though? He should have become Eel Man.
Unagi.
He should have become an eel, right? Because he was in a what's it called? A vat of electric eels.
Vat of eels, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get from that to electro?
You gotta be careful where you fall.
That was a good
Great line. I love the way he delivered that line.
I mean,
it was fantastic.
I mean, okay, anyway, we're going to be beating a dead horse at this point. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed that spoiler discussion. Y'all, everybody who super chatted, thank you so much. Everyone who's just regular chatting, thank you as well.
Thank you for joining us.
Everyone who's just using this as a podcast, listening to you in the background, thank you very much for your ears. And y'all be good. Watch Spider-Man No Way Home again. Let us know if you love it more or like it less. And follow SYNTELL with the Intel on his Instagram at SYNTELL, at youtube.com/SYNTELL, at ACHARA Kirk, youtube.com/ACHARA, and at ACHARA Kirk on Instagram. And I'm going to be here all week. So the rest of the year. The rest of time. Y'all be good.
Let's
Thanks
go
so
watch
much.
The Witcher.
I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA Kirk.
And that is...
It's your boy.
Peace out. Of course, the music's not like exciting. I want the music to be exciting on the way out.
Make it exciting. Which one?
There we go. Boom.